definitely done their homework. They've got their plan locked in. Chat Flixie, very similar notes though, much calmer scenes too. North of the map here at Storm Station, uncontested, and so they won't have anybody to kind of intervene with their starting loot path. They're really just looking to try and build up as much as they can before they start looking for some of those early net surge tags. Teams have to be wary though as they make their moves, especially some of the teams in this frigid fortress area. Karama and Akira looking to represent France big time here today.
Yeah, I got hopes for this duo. They always seem to make it to finals, but a lot of the time, especially recently, they're kind of on the middle end of the leaderboard. Good news is, top 20 is what you need. But I'd like to see them, you know, I don't know if it's going to be in this major, maybe just this year. I want to see them kind of elevate a little bit more. And instead of being one of those kind of top 15 teams, I want to see them get into that top 10. They have the experience. We head on over to the Squibbly Shores.
Checking back in essentially with Reason and Riley after they
Zo
won their
boys,
first
ben ik weer.
scuffle over by
Gaan
the
even
gas stations. Squibbly
kijken.
Shores is still bound to draw plenty of other teams to the area. Nathan Nebs, one part of the POI, Shaco's Tilio on a separate direction, and
Potje.
Takata, you have to bear in mind with Shaco's and
Het is
Tilio
nog
kind of just
geen avond, dat is pas 6 uur pas.
One misstep is all it takes for an immediate collapse. I like the intentions here. It seems like they are really fishing for an elimination or two, but it might not come so easy to them.
What I love about major finals lobbies is you have a lot of time to study what your opponents have been doing throughout the season in your surrounding areas. So if you see common rotates they tend to take at certain zones, you can try and prepare yourself for that. Sometimes it'll work out, sometimes it won't.
Kijk, ze zitten te campen. Mag niet. Nee, geintje.
They might be waiting a little bit longer than intended here, though, Takata. No one's even nearby. The other porta potty they could make use of, so Reason, Noah, also just taking their time. Biko and Malabuka. Now, I know the desk kind of touched on it, where they've had so many instances, I think, of coming so close to solidifying themselves as just like the outright best team, and then just fallen short here, Takata. But now, leading into this Grand Finals performance, they know that it's more than just that placement to the Major One Summit land that they've got riding on this. It's also a lot to do with their pride.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about the kind of new era in EU.
Nou,
with a lot
komen
of
ze
the
nog,
legends
of
not
wat?
coming through, but I'm going to pause on that thought of Storm Demons.
Checked, man.
Seems to have got them
Oh,
second.
kijk, daar zijn jullie.
This is
Ik ben ook voor
not
Twek
the sort of
beter.
site that Twek and Niger want to
Maar
be
ik
dealing
zijn
with.
ook wel
Demons
blij.
and Darm
Dus
have
in Maido heb
very
ik nog
Cup finals.
nu
They will
vaak zien
certainly get
spelen.
the
Dus.
better end of this sort of
Heb
engagement.
je gespeeld in de Elite-series?
But
Ja,
Zitten nou al
ze
in de-
waren, ja.
Zitten nou al in de storm te campen, jongen.
kind of just
En
holding
ze waren
each
18
other at
iets ook.
bay. Demons Darm, though,
Zoals ik.
seemingly got exactly what they
Twek
were
is
Twek is
after.
snel wil
Might
joinen.
have been
Wacht
just to
even.
try and confirm a little bit of
Twek is
surge
15 of
damage, but
16.
this is a
weet het.
much different
Het was
venue
zo.
than what we were anticipating for them to
Wacht,
be
is hij
dropping.
NL joinen?
That
Ah,
it
dit niet.
is. No, Levin touched on this as well. Now Cammy leading the pack here on EU
Okay.
with finals appearances.
Ik heb nog geen Shiffy nog niet gezien, bro.
Hij
zijn dood.
The thing is, the expectations in
Ja,
terms of
maar ik
placement
wil ook niet.
are not quite there yet for Cammy and Hari, so I'm excited to see if they can prove themselves.
Dit is eerst potje, dacht je, of niet?
Ah ja,
I feel
Sky
like they
en
make a little bit
Scroll.
of a more sneaky
En hem
approach
ook
against
net op
Adam and
doen.
Momsy,
Ja, ik wou.
the way that
Die
they're
hebben
elke
zo,
week
scaling up that mountain
Ja.
base.
die spelen zo goed in de
Scroll and
heats en
Sky.
zo. Ik ben de hele tijd eerste.
Dus je
Also
ziet
got
elke week wel
much
ergens
calmer
hoog staan.
views. Sky mostly just taking over the efforts of keeping tabs on their surge damage, kind of scouting out the perimeter.
Het is helemaal
There
niemand
is
lief.
not a singular soul in
Waar gaat
sight.
Scroll heen?
So they know they've just
Ik
got to
kost
start
meer
making their
om die
moves.
ranked game.
Plenty of heals to spend
Heals
some
is
time
goed.
inside of Storm if they need to. Rocky stuff though for a couple of other
Ik
teams.
ga vast even eten, maar ik hoef het er straks.
Howley,
Wie de fuck
a
is
little bit
dit?
more split than what they would like to
Maar
be.
weet je wat daar net was in
This
beeld?
is a big
35
debut, I
van
would
de...
say, for Luscious,
Wacht,
especially just
35
trying
mensen
to
of 35
make up
teams
for
of
some of
zo?
the things
Hebben
that
voor,
went down
wacht,
inside
voor
Heat.
35 mensen
Don't have
of
to
voor
comment on it yet
35
now
teams
that
die zitten in de
happened
eerste grand final ooit.
We'll see, but
Kijk of
Phil,
er lobby
some
is.
nerves, you know, got out in heats. We're now in major finals. The prep has been done. It's time to lock
Ja, het zijn wel
in.
nieuwe talenten.
Lucy Zangi close
Waarschijnlijk.
by. There's a lot of teams that are kind of contesting around where Sky and Scroll drop at Battlewood Boulevard, so they rotated towards
die
Sun
bij ons
Studios
tennis?
now.
Nee.
Hij is eten gaan maken.
But
Hij
That's a
in
big
onze
explanation
lobby.
for why Lush has taken
That
this
is
sweet time, though. Nero and Joshbot in that looming surge base makes total sense why he was just prioritizing staying tucked away inside the building. They will have to expend some materials while Nero and Joshbot
En wat denk je van Marius Kou? Hoe hij het gaat doen?
Medius and iDrop, though, another
Even
one of
naar
our
de top 10
teams
kijken.
uncontested. At
Hun
least
heb
for this
ik niet in de
opening
top 10,
lobby.
denk ik. Nee.
And over by Latte Landing, with the zone pulling a little bit more towards this north side, Takata, you have to anticipate that there's going to be some teams trying to maybe cut through. And from these elevation points, Hydra and Medius, it's a real opportunity to get some tags in.
they qualified through a VR in heats. I'm very curious now, just once we reach that kind of surge segment of the match, on just how things are looking in
Focus on
general.
Thomas.
Now, Thomas HD focus. We've seen the jokes online. I mean, they're not really jokes.
Als je
to be
nu een
honest.
game wint, wat
The
krijg je dan
second
eigenlijk?
place.
Niks, gewoon voor leaderboard.
Top 3 over 10 times. Second place 5 times.
Niet meer zo 1000 punten.
Second place at a global
Nee, het is
championship.
gewoon de... Na 12 games wie
Cannot
waar ze.
find the win. And Taco, I think you think that this might be the tournament?
The main thing to focus on is just taking each game in stride. But what I noticed there, Takata, is the mythic pump. There's about a 33% opportunity for them at Riptides to be able to get a mythic shotgun in their hands. And knowing that Focus is going to be the one rocking it, the type of respect that Thomas HD has to have for his co-pilot,
Yeah.
it just
Twee pizza
really
dozen is wel echt
indicates
heel
how
goed, hè.
strongly
3 pizza
Thomas
dozen.
considers Focus's fragging capabilities, and it's not
Oh,
surprising
3
to see
pommen en
them
6
taking their
stuks
sweet
best
time
ook,
over at Riptides either.
Kijk
hoeveel
They
teams-
on those vending
kijk hoeveel
machines,
teams er
they
ook in de
play out
storm
those
zitten,
white heels
gewoon echt.
very effectively and look for those later rotations to try and make
Oh,
an approach
daarnet
from
onze
that
trio,
side
die was
of the
eerst
zone.
zo slecht in
But
onze laatste
other
games.
teams not really
Maar hoe heet
provided
dat?
that
Waarom we
luxury.
dat aan het
Teeny
spelen?
and Shark, they're really just
En we
looking
zetten, ja,
for
je weet
that
wat er gebeurt als je mij met
rotation,
heftige
but
wapens en shit in een endgame zet.
Sayas and
Dan
Sketty
kook ik.
Maar ja, bro, hij was echt fucking hard aan het koken,
getting a
bro.
little dicey over by New Sanctuary.
Imagine als we met z'n drieën nog altijd bij elkaar waren, bro. Why, yo. Maar ja, ik had niks. Ik moest wel achter zo'n bord van beton moeten verstoppen.
En ik was heel de lobby van aan het clearen.
Ja.
En dan ook zo kut, bro. Fucking, ik neuk 6 mensen in de storm, fucking mooi, en dan zit er een trio in een bosje. Dat was ook echt een kut, man.
Still, time that's spent
Kijk wat ze
inside of
maken.
the storm
Shark en team.
just allows other teams to rotate ahead of you, and not only that, just get boxed up in positions where they could look to try and cut you off. We know just how
Hier.
Waarom
volatile
is er een big X?
Surge can be, especially in a set lobby format.
Beetje
But when you
eitjes, ja.
compare a Heat final set lobby to the caliber of
Gewoon
the
neemt
Grand
de finals niet
it's a whole
serieus.
different ballpark.
Oh,
And
veel. Het is
teams
blijkbaar
like
is echt
Phoenix
raar.
Storm that have sort of been
Fout en zo, weet ik
working
veel
their way
wat.
around the ringer.
Wat? Die
They
Ashes?
Die twee
know
ijsjes.
exactly
Ik heb die.
what they've got to do, but it's one
Ik
thing
heb
to
ook
know,
zien
it's
gebruikt die
another
ook bij
thing
het
to
Orc South
manifest
Season.
it.
Ik heb die, hè.
Bijna klaar.
Yanis cheated.
Maraski, ik heb
Talking
die.
about them earlier. Now,
Hoezo is die rijdt dan?
Yanis
Ik weet dat nu.
looking to see
Is
if you can
van...
represent Germany,
Ik weet niet wat hij was.
Düsseldorf. Didn't qual Major 3 in 2025 or
Hoe heb ik die
Globals,
dan?
but he did qual every Div
Goeie
Cup
vraag.
last season. Issue was he was always in that
Zie je
middle
zo'n
end of the
lokken? Ga je die
leaderboard.
aan?
He got like 9th once.
Is geen lokker.
This season didn't qual Div
Fa.
Cups, but Heat's performance was there. We're now in the major
waarom maken
finals.
ze
The
hem dit?
experience is there. So let's see if they put in the practice.
Ja,
Kijk, 84 man in deze zone.
A little bit of a check-in with where Huddy
De helft zit niet eens in de cirkel zelf.
After Wonky Land, only had Sharkatini there. Yapko Panzer, though, getting little aggressive here now. They are 297 above, but it's because of Fishy and Huddy's desperation. Yep, Panzer likely recognizing it. This is a team that is very much hurting with the way that they were trying to just immediately pounce inside of their box, and they are doing a great job at just keeping them shut out. Panzer just overextends and gets trapped.
Hij heeft morgen misschien in de avond een
He'll be able to at least grab
een duo materiaal in de avond. Wil je die doen? Want we hebben het al heel lang meer in een duo materiaal. Komt die is echt locked in spelen als
we hebben die van vorige week gedaan, maar dat was ook al flop volgens mij.
Nee, dat is niet waar.
Hij
wil toch. Dat was solo rank.
Nee, op zondagavond niet, hè. Zoals op maandag en dinsdag.
We hebben echt een duo materiaal cup gespeeld.
Ja,
volgens mij was dat een reload cup.
Almost getting
zo'n deal.
Geen idee, wel, maar kom morgen die, als we locked in spelen, echt zo voor top 100 schaar. Echt veel punten. Kom gewoon voor een win spelen, zodat je daarnaast komt. Zodat we elkaar kunnen lezen.
Able to kind of prove to everyone that had taken them as being able to win a lobby in their heats. Now they want to prove that it wasn't just the heats level that they were capable of making that happen, right? 250 above right now for their surge threshold.
Zo jammer dat we zoveel games
hebben currently because they're just looking to try and push people back to the outskirts. But all these teams, you know, that kind of spend a little bit more time inside a storm for whatever reason. XZ, Chris Buka, they are hurting.
Die leven er nog, maar ik was even eten maken.
Duitsers leven nog en zeker mij er zijn dood of niet.
Geen idee.
Ze waren niet in de slides, maar ik weet niet.
What the
fuck? Kijk die double beams, dat moeten wij ook echt leren. Kijk dat we dat zo vervallen. Dat is gelijk zien. Toch? Maar dat
repairs did not last long.
68 man.
Darm and Beamish now also getting picked by Surge. I mean, this was a duo that went in 2024 from 0 FNCS finals, 23k earned. In 2025, getting third in Major 2, sixth on a global stage, and over 200,000
op dit moment 2600ste met 6.4 per jaar.
Hoeveelste?
2600.
They rose up very quickly and now want
to 6.4 per jaar.
En onze cup, waar staan we nu?
Just right above that threshold. It's gonna be difficult.
Hey boys,
dus dat betekent.
Wat staan we nu?
Ik heb dus officieel de 100 per jaar aangetikt. Is dat dus?
Dat is wel tough. Ik weet niet hoeveel ik heb.
Dikke skip.
Wat zei je?
Ik zei, hoeveelste staan we nu?
2600.
Je bent aan het eten of niet?
Ja.
Ja, ik hoorde van
Ja, gast, ik heb honger. Dan ga ik eten, hè.
Nou, dat snap ik.
It really does. Average placement of 4.
Kijk dit.
They can play together well. They can play as solos incredibly well. And they are looking strong to kick this off.
There are a lot of teams right now, though, just kind of suffering from surge ticks. Cammy and Hadi are not going to be one of them, though. Instead, they'll join the rest of the lobby, just looking to kind of focus out some of these teams that are very clearly in questionable positions. And it's difficult to tell because there are just so many shots being sent one direction, but Cammy, Hadi, they'll take their chance to strike. They're going to be some of the first to move into that next frontside of zone, but they've got to make sure that they avoid a lot of the local foot traffic surrounding them. I like these look backs in. Sky Scroll just making it look too easy.
Literally, it's like, oh, just look back, shoot, I could do that. In a major finals,
hey,
understanding how difficult it actually is to position yourself in a good place. What happens before, during the rotates, the shields, the mats, conserving all of this while still getting enough damage for Surge.
I know.
They are currently
Probeer door moneymaker bro, alleen dat hem ook moeilijk in dat is man. Ik heb die moneymaker. Heb je die clips gezien?
Hij was echt gewoon gestopt. Hè.
Moneymaker.
Ja, hij was ook gestopt.
blijkbaar.
Dat was op de 5.
Ik hoop dat dat kind weer gaat stoppen.
Hij is wel goed aan het spelen.
Ja, dat vind ik niet zo leuk. Ze zijn below.
Want ze hebben geen heals.
Ja, ze moeten tags doen. 13 below, ja, nu weer in de min. 1 below.
Ja, ze zijn dood.
Ja.
Ik ben klaar.
Ja. Zo kut, die nieuwe Storm Surge is zo fucking kut, jongen.
Just 1 second too long.
Dat is al moeilijk genoeg.
Player drive-by finish is so unbecoming, I would say, for Chad and Flixie to be in that kind of spot in the first place. I think that they would definitely like to try and resolve that for lobby 2, but fact of the matter is,
Die Sky en Scroll,
Sky and Scroll,
ik denk dat zij gaan winnen.
they're just looking to continue
Deze game, maar deze game bedoel ik.
No one is safe right now as long as they're in Sky and Scroll's line of sight.
They've not taken a
Op
single
Shark of
risk
Team,
too. I mean, they're just taking shots from afar. It's all prime positioning. Ju and Country too.
Ik ga daar prediction doen wie er gaat winnen.
They actually had the zone pull right by their drop spot, so they're able to double ramp all the way up. Marius still solo clutching it. Teeny now lost a bit of
maar
HP. Sky Scroll
die twee die boven zitten, jongen, die hebben wel een uithouden, man.
Ken ik niet. Ja, daar ligt dan als ze echt veel mensen dan kunnen ze echt deze game winnen.
No one has seemingly
Anders
spotted out
moeten
this
ze
solo
droppen.
just yet in the mid layers. Hasn't been forced down by height. Setting up for 3 is trying to make his way forward now. Just trying to make sure that he's staying on pace with front side of zone. Ju and Cantry also.
Ik hoop dat ze naar beneden worden gehaald en gewoon doodvallen allebei.
Anybody
Ja, dat zou
challenging
grappig
them just yet, but
Ik vind het eigenlijk gewoon de bekende teams.
very early on in Malibuca, Sky, Squirrel, so many strong contenders.
Marius Gauw is dood.
And make their way up, and Marius has fallen, but he at least was able to collect 2
Shark is echt fucking veel kills aan het pakken, en Teeny ook.
De 5 kills. Dat is nog tegen spreek. Shark is een AP.
The moment they look back, they see players hawking them down.
Caught off
Al
guard.
zie ik
They're put
fucking
into a bit of
Dark op
panic here.
high
They're gonna have
ground.
to look for a refresh, but if any team is capable of playing aggressive and picking it up, it is gonna be Shark and Teeny. Vico Malabuca, on the other hand, showing their experience as well
Wow.
as Chino
Het is
Pablo.
dood, hè.
Was that a high ground reach? Potentially.
Dat is nog bijna gesloten.
Dropped to just a sliver of HP in
Maar
the
dat duurt zo lang, die shotgun te schieten.
Got our first takeover in terms of the high ground
Kijk
debate,
dit, jongen.
but Pablo, Gino, definitely a little bit hurt right now. Only 2 builds right now for Pablo. Glove sheet cracks. They're going to look to strike now. It's going to be a force down. Gino immediately dropping layers, trying to see if he can reconnect his duo Pablo, but he won't get the chance. Taken out by the lobby. Cammy hiding.
He's Cammy.
Go for height now. They've sent
Ik ken hem,
Cammy, last man left standing for the time being. Glove
Had wel
sheet
lang
has been
gedood.
eliminated. That little
Wat
bit of
doet hij?
psych material
Hij
going to
dropt.
help them out, but Pablo can't make it back in.
Hallo.
Storm gonna clear him out.
Cammy is
op de
Forced to drop all
Hij is
the way
een
to the
solo
road
op de
because
high.
the zone is cooling, but he's targeting
Crazy shit,
straight
man.
back
Waar maar
up
Poent, hè.
towards the high ground. Cringe. So many solos.
Alleen Shark leeft nog. Teeny is dood.
In these lower layers
Range
here,
leeft
Cammy,
nog.
He's gonna keep
Oha.
rolling up.
This is not what
Can
we're
you
used to
hide?
seeing.
Volko?
Cammy not only on the high ground, but as a solo, still clutching it out. He's out of mats though.
Zij kan zeggen dat
Shark
we
is dood, Shark is dood.
Into the depths.
Range en AP.
Taken out, and
Atlantic
it's
Storm.
all
Ze droppen. 1v2 toch? Ja.
finish this match off.
Ze winnen dit, ja.
Yo, man.
Range en Volko.
Volko and Cringe, a healthy duo. They'll be able to connect with our
Kijk
very
of
first
lelijk.
victory royale here in game 1. For a moment, it looked like Cammy might just get it done, but the one healthy
What the
duo
fuck
left
is dat
over in
voor
the
wife, bro?
lobby, they were the ones that knew that they had
Een
height
lelijk
so
ding.
confidently here. A
Jezus.
great
Fucking.
display to start things off, but Frank, what do you guys got to say?
So
But this-
many
this
incredible
level,
solo
funky.
names in the lobby there, but it took 2 to get it done.
Look, La Caca is alweer bij Tuzi. La
Really
Caca.
nicely done from those guys.
Well,
They
no.
took height there, perfect timing on that. They saw Cammy was a solo up there on height, perfect.
Echt zo'n
opportunity
kutstem.
for them to take
Hey,
it,
wat,
and then
man.
riding
Echt zo-
out the
echt
end
zo'n-
game. I
echt
think
zo'n
the big Volko,
Nika-stem gewoon.
sort of stan, I suppose, over
Maar
the
zo'n
years.
zagende Nika-stem.
I knew you
Ja, maar die
were-
Afrikanen hebben zo aparte stemmen. Ik weet niet hoe, die hebben gewoon van die... Ja, hoe zeg je dat? Ja, dat is grappig.
here was looking good in duos, hasn't really seen too much of. Hopefully this is a sign of more to come.
Definitely. It will be interesting to see if these guys can sustain in the lobby, because actually we had a number of players definitely putting their best foot forward there. Some players who sometimes take a few more games to get into it. But for Cringe and Volko, I think top 20 is definitely a certainty for these guys, even though it's only game 1.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? You know, you don't want to count your eggs.
Skull and Sky. En sowieso in de top 5 gaan sowieso
I forget we've got more than 5 games left, and that's
what
ik hoop dat jullie in zich
We've got a lot of games, but look, these guys are definitely a team in the running to get top 20, because one, they have been incredibly impressive, right? They've been one of the stronger teams. I think, you know, a lot of people already had them in that sort of top 10 sort of area, right? As far as what these guys have shown they can do so far this season. And this is a great start to prove it, not just to fans, but to prove it to themselves.
And they're also a consistent team, Ilana.
Yeah, they are, and I expect to see, considering their drop spot as well, right in the center of the map, looks like they're uncontested. Not quite sure what happened off spawn for those guys in that game, so I'm sure we'll get to see more of that as the tournament develops.
Can I join you?
Expect to see these guys in end games. It's just whether they'll be able to keep having those highs in terms of the wins.
Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking more about game 1.
Ik probeer maar te joinen, ik weet niet of dat al lukt. Ja hoor, maar gaat alles goed met jou dan?
Hoeveel minuten heb ik tot de volgende game?
2.
2.
Ja.
Dan zie je nog een timer. Na die 2 minuten.
Dan ook weer vergeten.
Hij kan je joinen, ja. Ik denk zwart scherm niet.
Hoop ik niet voor je. Ik had mijn spel helemaal opnieuw moeten aanzetten, man.
We zullen eens zien.
We hebben toch per jaar gehaald, of niet, maat?
Dat kunnen we straks pas zien.
Dat weten we nog niet. We moeten nog wachten tot 6 uur.
Wat? Oh, je zit in een stoel.
Wat?
Je staat in een stoel, dikke. Ja, ik zweer.
Ja, bij mij niet. What the fuck?
What the fuck is dat?
Op zich ging de cup wel redelijk. De 2 laatste potjes waren wel goed. Die waren echt goed.
Dat is niet vaak bij ons, hè. Vaak hebben we veel slechte potjes en de laatste paar games carryen ons gewoon.
Ja, maar we moeten, maar wat hij ook zei, we moeten gewoon altijd bij elkaar blijven. Dat is gewoon, ja.
Top 2000 gehaald hebt.
Elke keer is er net eentje van ons net buiten het bereik. Ja, ik moest de laatste keer...
Soms misschien wel door te horen, ja, waar je gewoon niks aan kan doen.
Nee. Maar die laatste 2 potjes gingen echt wel goed. Hebben jullie veel kills? Mats, ik bedoel, Kapi die was echt een killing spree, moet ik zeggen. Hoeveel kills dat hij had, dat weet ik zo niet. Ik denk dat ik heb hem wel allemaal crack geschoten. Ik had ze wel crack geschoten, maar hun hebben ze gefinished. Dus ja, op zich, assist dan zeg maar. Ik heb geen kills kunnen maken, maar ik heb wel veel assists kunnen maken. Maar hoeveel precies dat ze gekillt hebben, weet ik niet.
11, it was an impressive performance by a number of big name duos. If you look at the end game, we had so many solos.
Hoeveel kills had hij? Weet ik niet, dat weet ik niet.
6 minuten.
You wouldn't want to count him out.
In de hele deze toernooi zou hij wel... weet ik veel, boven
biggest thing for these guys.
20 kills of zo, weet ik veel.
We were all wondering, were they going to be landed on in that first game after Josh Bot marked it sort of a couple hours before Grand?
Wat vond Barrow van de cup?
Nothing happened. They were uncontested, right? So they got to play their game out. And many, as expected, when they do get to
wat vond je nou van de cup?
We're going to see Scroll in that position more times this weekend, I can assure you that.
Yeah, back on the prediction now for them to win the FNCS. Right? That was always a bit of a shaky moment for everyone to predict them, and I'm sure for them as well. But that's going to settle them now, I think. You know, realistically for them, of course, that would have been in the back of their mind looking at the
wat wij van deze cup vonden, ja, gewoon redelijk.
Based on this first game, it seems like it hasn't done. They play exactly how we expect them to play. Very hip to hip, not taking any risky.
Het had altijd beter gekund, maar het ging wel.
In terms of the tops as well, Sky going forward and Scroll fragging out. So
wat vond hij van Kapi? Ja, gewoon hetzelfde, want het is eigenlijk zijn duo-maat, hè.
But still, a very solid performance from them, and it's a really nice start because we expect lots from them. If this is a team that we thought, yeah, maybe they're contested.
Ja, zei dat het gewoon goed was.
Okay, but this is not going to continue. For them, expect.
Maar ik ben trio's niet zo gewend. Ik ben meer als ik cup speel, dan doe ik liever duo of solo. Maar ik vond het niet verkeerd gaan of zo. Ze zei dat het gewoon redelijk goed was. Redelijk goed is gewoon goed, hè. Het had altijd slechter gekund.
Hopefully they can continue to do this. Yeah, I think the big thing for these guys was obviously they went to play for high, right? That was what they saw as their win condition.
Waarom skip je mij? Hoezo skip je?
As the games go on, I'm curious to see again how heavily do they choose to play for high. I think we know that if they go up for it, they're going to be a threat. I also think a lot of people watching these guys will go, if you guys just keep playing mid game, you're probably going to frag out and be able to
skip jou niet eens
until top 5s that way as well. So I'm interested to see sort of what are these guys feeling is their route to victory in most of these end games of the next 11 games.
You know what I really enjoyed? I loved seeing stress-free surge.
Nou, ze zitten allemaal niet in de top 10, bro. Wel.
Yeah, Vico Malibuca.
Ik kan het vanaf weer niet zien.
Maar
ze waren allebei.
Ze zitten allemaal niet in de top 10.
Of course, we've seen Malibuca in the past have really incredible game ones, or sorry, day ones in FNCS finals, and you know this one was a fine sort of showing for them again, showcasing some of their best ability. When these two are on the ground layers like this and they have to fight teams, there's just, you know, not many people scarier in all of Fortnite, right? Malibuca has been, you know, the boogeyman of mid-ground for years in EU, and Vico, one of the best to ever do it. So these guys are in more of these positions, frankly, yeah, I'm going to feel great about them. Near the top by the end of game 12.
And we spoke about it at the beginning of the day as well. These guys are very risk-taking. They maybe make some mistakes, but I think that's going to play into their benefit and into their favor here in the major finals. Some of those teams that are maybe newer that we expect to do well, they hold back a little bit. They wouldn't make those same plays they're going to make in those heats. Whereas for these guys, they've been here, they've done that. They know what they can do. They know how they can maybe make some of those plays work, and maybe they go a little bit too far sometimes.
Ja, maar ik skipte hem niet.
Let's take a look at the leaderboard. I'm curious to see where Cammy, I should say, managed to clutch it.
Ik zeg ja, dat kan.
Fantastic from him. I don't know if he's the person we expected to see in those final moments there, but it was an impressive showing, Levin.
Wat boeit Tottenham, jongen? Het is net zo'n kutclub als 020, bro.
Mr. Kaminsky does not disappoint when it comes to grand finals, and I think even when you look back at previous FNCSs in duos for him, with how legendary his career has been, one of the funny things is he has never won an FNCS trios, but he's had some of the better individual duos performances in the history of this game. I think back to, you know, chapter 5 it was, right? Season 2, where he just absolutely flew, was arguably the MVP of that grand. And if he keeps playing like how he did in game 1, he might have another tournament where we're walking away saying he's the MVP. So a really great start from Cammy.
Is it because we don't necessarily think of Cammy as a clutch? We always think of him as one of a pair, Mini Minor.
Yeah, potentially. I think, you know, he's one of those players that maybe isn't the most flashy in terms of mechanically, but he's got the brains, he's got that ability, he's got that experience now as well. And even in that particular endgame, I think things could have ended a little bit better for him if that Harpoon managed to get some of those materials. He was up on height as a solo, but ultimately ran out of steam. You saw him there with a Harpoon trying to look into the storm to grab those materials slightly too far away. So I'm just thinking maybe that refresh, if that had a couple of hundred mats on there, maybe we'd be talking about a Cammy solo clutch win here in game number 1 if things were slightly different.
We also saw Shark trying to clutch for the win mini.
Yes, we did. And, you know, it's nice to see these guys, of course, making it to endgame. I think a lot of the conversation 11 would have been about these guys off-spawn situation. Looked as though they did go for that fight a little bit earlier on. Things then fizzled out a little bit, and we even saw Dharma Dimash in the area as well. But in endgame, this is exactly what we expect from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this game should be the answer to why a lot of people, even though they're being contested, are still so incredibly high on their chances to, you know, walk away with a top 5 today. Because when they do get to play our games, this is what they showcase, right? They make it deep, and they're gonna get a limbs, right? 9 limbs there, not too shabby.
All right then, are you ready for some more, boys?
Always.
Always, a bit more enthusiastic, please. I bet chat is loving it right now. You too, I think you're a bit subdued, but it is only game number 2, so let's head back to Taco and Takata.
Nummer 2 begint al, hè.
Thank you. We're also excited here in the casting booth. Taco, kicking things off, it is getting interesting. Sharktini, it's reminding me not when the 6-0 happened, but in the most recent Div Cups where they took some fights in Wonky.
En ik geloof niet dat die jongen rechts, dat die heet wordt.
Ik vind nou live echt lelijk, bro.
Always appreciate a good old-fashioned cringe-off. It's kind of hilarious to me that if you cringe in Volko and then obviously the other component of cringe and Twy competing for those last couple of slots. But now we've got a whole
ja, overal met je praten, optieven. Dank u. Game 2.
We'll see if the off-spawn goes any differently here. I mean, Levin mentioned it earlier.
Dat die off-spawn even... Het is eigenlijk off-spawn is het... Jordi en Ziggy tegen Moneymaker.
Ja.
Zodat die even winnen, man.
But it's definitely much more difficult.
And for Panzer Yapko, over by Painted Palms, they know that they've got their work cut out for them. They are going to be directly contested by Lunix and Wolvax, who haven't had a chance to strike just yet. Both teams going to be able to get themselves into a decent position. I would anticipate for
de finals gaan wij kijken, ja.
Check back in, see how it actually pans out over there.
Straks als de finals afgelopen is, dan ga ik weer gamen.
Dominion proving to be a little bit more problematic. And this is kind of a reoccurring with this mid-map position. A lot of people would think Swizzy, Pixie, uncontested most of the time when they're marked, but it feels like there's always someone that decides to spoil.
Ik heb geen idee hoe lang dat duurt. Ik heb geen idee.
He'll opt to try and take the tunnel getaway, but that's just going to leave Truly and Gonzo.
Kijk wel hoe lang het duurt. Ik heb geen idee. Ik heb geen idee.
The worst part.
Shiffy moet even een goede eindbattle hebben deze.
Er is af 2 of spaar gewonnen. Twee krijgt er ook uit.
Dat is wel chill.
To see the OGs back in business. Going back to Dark Dominion though, like what I was saying is when you have someone surprise con, if it doesn't go well from them in the first matches, it's likely they might go away. But when they win the first match, they win the second off spawn. It's not looking great for Swizzy and Pixie.
And just look at like the cascading effect it's had too, right? You're seeing other teams now choosing to kind of stroll on over.
Big Malipuka.
No Pixie. Pixie having some issues there. So, hey, why not throw our names?
Ze gaan hem naar beneden halen.
It's not all clearly cut out for Truly and Gonzo, but at the very least, teams elsewhere always just trying to be very on top of maintaining their surge damage.
Sneak.
Swizzy now
dit is vies, bro.
Moneymaker is dood. Lekker voor je, Moneymaker. Yo, moeder. Lekker dat je dood bent.
Wie?
Met je deze contest aan de papamop.
Oh, die was wel nice, bro.
Ah ja, ze is te weer. Jordi en Sifje zijn hier. Ze worden weer gesneakt, volgens mij.
Making it to the finals this season.
Zou ze maar kunnen, weet ik.
the axe there and everything. So hopefully
Ik zit ook al te kijken naar links van het beeld wie er allemaal doodgaan. Ik heb nog geen...
Dat zie je nu niet als het zo met een drone gefilmd wordt.
Marius had a good clutch in the last match. But hopefully this time around it can be a full duo playing it out. He's currently 16th with 30 points. So
maar daar zit je ook kut hoor in een hoekje.
You know, good enough to hold
ja, laat de landing. Daar zijn, wie is er geland? Marius Kou en Eidrop daar volgens mij.
Ja.
En ik heb hem niet in de top 10 gezet, puur omdat de landing laag zit. Dus dan kan je makkelijk gelezerd worden door de teams daarna. Je bent gewoon geïsoleerd.
Klopt.
Je zit gewoon in de put daar.
Ja.
Overal pillig.
But they've got to be very careful because Media's eye drop likely have no idea that Yapko Panzer are guarding that rear chest, waiting for the perfect jump scare setup for whoever might be first to stroll into that building. Wouldn't be surprised to see us revisit Latte Landing very shortly. Battlewood Boulevard.
Nou, hij denkt ik zou even al die medkits naar boven.
Originally.
Ja, dat doen ze om, kijk, Sky is surge aan het fixen, dus damage aan het doen. De andere is...
Ja.
Is altijd zo.
Ja, meestal wel. Maar ik vond het van de vorige keer met Mr. Savage, dat ze dan gewoon echt zo'n dikke beeldtrap maken. Dat is ook wel een goeie. Shit.
Niet iedereen.
Surge problems in the last match might be playing a little bit more active this time around. Arco Kire opted in for the surge base. Either drop here. Will they actually be able to find connections? Issue is with these 2-day tournaments is, especially after the end of day one, your opponents kind of learn a lot of your habits and will try and mitigate those opportunities for you to loot opportunities. Marius eye drop though. Looks like they want to get a bit aggressive.
It's not only that, I think eye drop was unfortunately on the receiving end, considering how low his HP just was. And the fact that they had to expend one of their Flowberry Mist Grenades just to bring him back up to a healthy contention point. But Marius, eye drop. Job's not done. Yapko Panzer on the ropes right now. Panzer incredibly
Wat is zijn naam dan, hè, op Fortnite?
Wie?
Zal ik weer aan het liggen? Didi Mac, Kutjaden bedoel ik. Ja, als je maakt niet op die van mij loopt.
Maar is hij weer aan het vervelen?
Hij zegt, weet je wel, ik weet niet of, waarschijnlijk is het gewoon bullshit. Hij zegt, yo, jullie hebben mijn broer gekild in die trio cup en Fusie had hem in de storm. Maar als het zo is, dat is lekker voor hem.
Ja.
En als je aan het liggen bent, dan vernuk je je eigen tijd gewoon. Dus wij hebben er geen last van.
Nee, dat klopt.
Jij bent de enige die er last van heeft.
Here. This drop spot is surrounded by quite a lot of contested duos, so building up extra high, hopefully.
Ja, die zit bij die tunnel.
Dus jij had die guy doodschoten allemaal of Cappy.
Already see a lot of these pre-existing builds, and they are fully aware of the fact that Nagi's got himself kind of sorted up in a bit of a...
Ja, ik zat op iedereen sprayen. Cappy maakte iedereen af, dus ja, ik heb gewoon fucking veel assist gemaakt.
Ik had toch eigenlijk mensen low.
Maar
het gaat het maakt niet uit wie de kills maakt, als het maar gewoon gebeurt.
Want to try and take out Twy and Cringe
Echt,
early
ik was
on.
alleen voor
They're
endgame
forcing
gaan.
this fight. They are not allowing Twy and Cringe a whole lot of wiggle room here, and it doesn't help knowing that there's third parties kind of witnessing, hey, if these guys are really open wood right now, they've got to be a little bit worse for wear.
Die hebben we ook gewoon
That's certainly the
ingehaald
case for
gewoon.
Twy right now. Doesn't have a whole
Hebben
lot
ze
of
meer
material
punten
left to
als
work
ons?
with.
Die hadden 62 punten of zo. En wij hadden meer.
Backing through this big game.
Hoeveel precies weet ik ook niet
Back
hoor,
over
man.
closer to Wonky, darn Dimish now. I'm wondering if Fishy's a solo
Wij
here.
hadden toch iets boven de 100.
He is, and in the 2v1, Fishy will go down.
158.
They
Ja.
are looking rough in these early games. It seems that they keep trying to fight a little bit, losing HP, losing shield, kind of shark teeny, scaring them away from Wonky Land. And they're just being put into shambles and it quite not going their way.
But the fact that Shark has one elimination, that tells me that there's a reason why Fishy was sent packing way west of the map towards Tree Chop Timber Mill. And for Darm Demons, they'll be more than
ja joh, holy shit.
Hoe hoog kun je zitten? Jongen, als die guy gewoon uit de... Als die vent wordt geschoten, jongen, hij valt hartstikke dood, hè.
Dat is ook een team daar, ergens.
Ja, man, zo dom. Ze hoeven dat maar alleen maar weg te hakken en hij valt gewoon fucking dood, bro.
Rico Laxer op je FV, ken ik... Zo.
Brother is cranking 90s, that's for sure.
En is jouw broer wel heel slecht, hè?
Seems like he might be having a... Maybe recognize the fact that there's Malibuca Vico in the area. Kind of exploring the tunnels for right now. Chat Flixie, on the other hand, dealing with Skyjup and Momsy. They do have splashes, they do have pizza, and they've also got the elevation hold. But it's obvious they're trying to conserve some of the materials here, Takata. Good reason. Panzer Yapko, though, after Latte landing on a little bit south for them, they've been forced to try and find that surge elsewhere. And Lunex seems to be their priority target. Wolvex having already been sorted out. 2 eliminations now. That's going to put Panzer and Yapko
Team met
right
carry, ja man. Daarom heb ik ook een endgame gecarried tot plek 7. Ja man.
Inside the storm for a little bit more of that dead side.
Als solo.
Nebs and Nathan actually started off quite strong. 6th place, 3 eliminations.
Die gasten hebben alleen maar staan campen, 100%.
They can just keep it up is the question. Good news for them, they're not contested, and the zone has been in their favor. First,
Falcon
go kind of more southeast. This is why players like Chap and Flixie had a bit of a struggle getting there. Speak of struggle, Minori.
Hey, onze skin.
Minori and Darkos kind of just reviewing
whether
or not they're going to be able to actually take this immediate fight. They know fully aware that there is another team kind of surrounding their area over in Builder's Barracks, but they still want to take a little bit of a calmer approach. They know that they've got the positional advantage against Dandipuzo and Werix. And I like the intentions from Minori. It looks like he's going for an absolute lurk approach. Might be able to catch them off guard from a separate angle if he manages to stay tucked away fully on that crouch approach, but we'll have to wait and see whether or not that actually nets them a nice couple of eliminations. Focus Thomas, though, one more time here at Sus Studios, and it is evident from their loadouts that they were successful yet again finding that mythic iron pump.
Very extended Puzo, though. And a bit of a pickle here. Minori Darkos, 118 below. They need these tags. Darkos has been fully cracked, though. It's basically...
ze zijn nog steeds gewoon in die stormloop te kutten. Moneymaker is gewoon weer terug, bro. Wat?
Not only is it going to be difficult to finish up this fight, but getting to zone is going to be incredibly tough here.
Ja, hij is wel 2 keer geneukt, jongen, in de game.
Oh! Die guys 500 below.
Broer. Wat een hit, bro.
It's almost like ramming your head into the wall, essentially, but he's got to try and net something. F9 and Moneymaker on the other end of the spectrum, though, they've already got everything that they need. 564 above that surge threshold. They don't have to force any sort of engagement here. They could choose to wait things out, but it will at least take advantage of the pizza slices that he does have nearby. But look at Minori, just 2 separate solos.
En 9 man heeft nog een broodje die zo slecht is.
Ja, dit is
een guy gaat dood, 400 kilo, dat kan niks.
Die guy schiet even 1 keer iemand van jou of Kapi dood en hij denkt dat gelijk dat hij de mannetje is, bro. Flikt erop.
Assaulting him. And they're not willing to let this one go. They're even gonna take over his pizza box.
Wow.
Ik heb hem zelfs nog vaker geneukt dan hij mij, bro. Ik heb gewoon bewijs, want ik heb het gewoon op stream staan. Dus,
Werix having his own pizza party in the back, letting everybody fight each other. Fringe Twy started off incredibly strong today.
Ze zijn ook al 300 below, bro.
Ja, daar kan hij niks aan doen. Ja, die 10 AP, daar gaat hij echt niet meer redden, bro. 10 AP kon hij sowieso niet redden.
Ja, ze moeten dus fucking...
Maar ik snap ook niet waarom dat ze gewoon in die storm blijven zitten. Dat is echt zo dom, man.
Het wordt erbij. Check hem uit als hij dood.
And I'm sorry, Twy, but 10 bandages is just not going to cut it. Working your way into that next edge of zone, not when you are 428 below the surge threshold. That is the main contributing factor to his downfall right now. But like that, he's still just trying to withhold that trooper mentality, keep marching forward. It's the least he can do.
Oh, klein stukje uitgestoken.
I feel like it's only delaying the inevitable now, though.
On the right side, though, Sharktini, they were below.
Zou wel ziek zijn als Civi en
jullie gewoon een
wel zo winnen, man. Zou wel ziek zijn.
Oh, be careful though. Maybe some quick luck of the draw here. Oh.
Gaat hij halen? Aight. Wat probeer je hier gewoon?
There is no possible way of survival. Okay, but I definitely respect the effort, the hustle mentality. Just keep marching forward. Sky Scroll though drew a little bit more attention on what they would have been hoping for.
Ziffy's not.
En Jord is ook dood. Got a decent position, isolated away from the rest of the pack, and they're going to opt to continue to just keep wrapping around. They can recognize that there's teams a little bit more distracted, but might be exactly who they're after.
Ja, dat wordt echt hard gekiet, bro.
It's a sandwich dream right now. That Sky and Scroll are looking to take a bite out of, but everywhere else, everyone else is always looking, trying to see who they can pick apart along the way.
There's a lot of duos that didn't struggle for Surge in game 1, 2, and now they're struggling here. Look at Country Ju too, still in the storm. A lot of players now forced to rotate in a little late. We have players like Cammy, who's actually lost Hari. Just leading into this endgame, Akira Karama as well gonna go down. So much pressure put onto the whole lobby with this Storm Surge now active. Cammy's getting tags, but it's just not enough.
No, and this is just so
die gaat geen 120 damage meer doen.
Where Cammy had just placed in the last lobby. But it is just such a journey right now. Cammy still holding on. One shot could be the difference maker here though, and Cammy, he'll look to take it.
Nou ja, hij moest wel voor de push gaan, joh. Hij moest wel gaan clearen, want anders was het gewoon fucked up. Hij moest iets proberen.
Look too deeply into it. Focus and Thomas, on the other hand, though, they're looking definitely have a much better placement, just barely sliding into 25th in the last lobby. Chino, Pablo also working their way up. These little bits of elevation. Now they'll have the chance to look back, and they're going to need more surge. They'd also like to have a conversion. A couple of eliminations because their material count too a little bit lower than they would like it to be at this point.
Chaos now unfolding. Malapuka's gone
Deze
down.
guys zijn ook al 130 kilo, jongens. Echt
struggling to get damage.
Zo moeilijk.
Vico left alone. Yeah. The experience in these stacked lobbies. He knows how to play
ja,
them.
170
but
kilo.
Despite that, you can still see the difficulty. As he's going to continue to overdrive his way in. We'll see what Scroll is up to in the meantime. Looking incredibly healthy. Consistency is the name of this team.
If they've got gold pistols in their clutches, that is just a daunting sight for the rest of the lobby, because you know Sky and Scroll are always going to be in a prime position, not even just for the zones, but to also take advantage of teams that are struggling to just try and break into the edge zone. Vico, unfortunately, looking to be one of their next victims if he's not careful. 103 below on the surge threshold.
Zijn 5 games toch?
Right now, doesn't take
6 games van Black, 6 games mob.
Just trying to get into the zone. Trying to make sure, but he's having to use all of his heals, all of his shield, just to try and leave himself in a somewhat healthy position. Fortunately, Surge will turn off for him. The lobby has thinned itself out down to that
4 games hier nou nog.
Looking back in at Sky and Scroll's successes, and they are just picking up everything that they could possibly desire. Great refreshes along the way.
Up in the clouds, though, check it out. Yannis cheated. Looking strong. Issue is, this is one of the initial moving zones. We saw how chaotic it got in the last match. How many teams wanted a piece of height. As Moneymaker gets dropped down in terms of materials.
En Moneymaker is ook eindelijk dood, hoor ik in.
They're looking quite healthy for the meantime.
Jep is ook dood.
We'll see how long they can last.
This is backyard though, Takada. We got this South Pole zone by New Sanctuary, and done a great job trying to apply pressure. These lower layers, Panzer just working his way through, but too many teams just stuck underneath with them. Pablo, Chino, they're going to be able to take Panzer out, really steal that body loot too. Doesn't even really.
Zou wel ziek zijn als hij deze potje wint.
Like Pablo and Chino, they don't want to stick around for that much longer. Though. They've got to make it into zone, and they do. But they know there's still a lot of ground to try and cover here. Frontside position.
De Nederlanders doen het niet echt goed.
Ja, ze spelen tegen de rest van Europa.
Ja. Maar dat ze zo ver zijn gekomen is wel ziek, man.
De top 20 van Grijns gaat naar Globals voor de maand.
Oké.
Dat is zo'n toernooi Düsseldorf. Razon is nog. En daar waren Riley's ook uit. Wel ver gekomen.
Thomas and Focus, though, they're going to need a refresh. They don't have a whole lot of materials, but the damage has been done. They got exactly what they were after. The eagle-eye view, Chino and Pablo underneath, though, ultimate low, still managing to stick towards this front side of zone. They found a couple of eliminations along the way. 8 in total is just wicked scenes right now, and they're not the only ones getting active. Howley and Lucia also have 9.
Yeah, Elim central right now. Chino getting cracked though. He's got to be careful. Howley gonna pop some minis. Thomas HD looking like this might be his season, but Howley goes down. Lusha forced to go.
Weer diezelfde team op de high ground of niet? Of zijn er nu iemand anders?
Nee, is een ander team denk ik.
Ja, die gaan sowieso winnen.
Ze kunnen het echt winnen, ze gaan het waarschijnlijk winnen. Ja. Ze hebben heel veel AP's droppen nu.
Oh shit.
Oh, ja, dit moeten ze toch winnen. Als ze dit verliezen, zijn ze echt heel hard gesteld.
Dan ben je wel te bezig inderdaad.
Een duo en een solo. Iedereen zit daar beneden nu.
Ja.
Wow. Ja, dit winnen ze 1v2. Ja. Ze winnen.
Kon niet anders, hè.
Is this going to be the season? Is this the time? We've been waiting for it for so long. Can Thomas HD finally win a major? Frankie 11 Mini, what are we thinking?
It is game 2. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but at the same time, how good is it to see Thomas and Focus get a victory royale, Levin?
Oh, it's amazing. It is amazing. And that right there, Mini, is a textbook game for them. I think when you look at how things shaped up in the game and in the lobby, as far as the zone was concerned, it was set up for them to do what they've been doing quite a bit. It's a layup, it's easy, it's straightforward, it's something they've done many times before. They were able to play in the storm quite a bit early on. They rotated in towards the boulevard area when the time was right. And again, you're able to just spend a lot of that mid-game avoiding all of the troubles that the rest of the lobby has to experience, and it puts them in that end game in a situation where then it's just about delivering, right? When you give Focus and Thomas HD gold pumps and all the loot in the world, what are they gonna do? They're gonna win your games.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it's one of those. They had height. They had a really good position on height as well. And I think that what you just mentioned right there was really key for that, because they had the resource, they had those materials. They still had 3 pizzas on Thomas, I think it was, when he went up on height. And I think it kind of like alleviates a lot of the problems that they've been having. A lot of their problems have been a little bit of maybe slight just solo plays and having to clutch up, and maybe a little bit of disconnection between them. But when you're playing height, it's very easy to stay together as a duo and just focus on the same goal, and you're always looking down, aren't you, when you're on height? So it's very, very a lot more simple, I suppose you could say, to retain that duo chemistry that they have been lacking this season. But this game is really, really nice for them. They took height again at a really good time, as I mentioned right there. They still had a good amount of resources in terms of heals, and even the way that they closed out the game as well. A lot of teams would have been a little bit more nervous, maybe stayed up on height, maybe not gone down. But I really like the confidence from, I think it was Focus initially, just to drop down, take down one of the players down on low ground, because of course they didn't have anything to sustain themselves up on height right here. So really nice plays, and shows the confidence that this team have. It's just about whether they can continue that throughout the rest of the games.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a team who, again, their fans are going to be happy. Thomas, I think, is very excited about the prospect of this being finally the one, you know, the FNCS he's able to deliver on. And again, if they can keep playing like that, there's no reason why it won't be.
Consistency means qualification for the Major One Summit in Düsseldorf. We'll be talking about who's been putting up the big performances after the break.
Ah, nice.
Wat?
Zeker.
Doe je?
Ik ben gewoon een beetje aan het kutten.
Oh. Ja, je zit inderdaad te kutten in. Ik ben naar beneden geflikkerd.
En nu weer. Hoeveel meter? 200 of zo? 205.
Man.
Ik ben benieuwd hoe hoog je kan bouwen in deze map.
Ik heb geen idee.
Even zien, hè. Hé, nikke. Hé, maar met hoe is het op een match hier? Ah, hier.
Moet je mijn match hebben?
Ja.
Oh, dat is...
Hé, ja, nieuwe wapens, hè.
Dat is alles.
Ja. Ah, alles. Ah nee, hier.
Commerce and Focus have been seeing what the community has been saying about them, and they're like, no more second places. We're going to take the second victory royale of the FNCS Europe Major 1 Finals, and we're going to keep going. The only way is literally up from here, because they did look magnificent on the high ground, but it's fantastically contested so far, as it always is when the best duos are competing against each other. And one of the duos that we're going to be talking a lot about this weekend is obviously Sky and Scroll. And Sky, he's always got his teammate Scroll to rely on, Levin, because I feel like Scroll is probably going to make it as a clutch to at least to every single endgame we see here this weekend.
Yeah, look, both of them have it in them. And so, again, I highlight that at the start because I think it's a very underrated part of what makes these guys successful, and it doesn't sort of maybe get highlighted as much because we're always talking about how in sync they are. But in this game, you know, when they did show us these moments, I remember the casters got very excited about that elimination right there, right? Because it was just a great showcase of what happens when both of these guys, you know, sort of come knocking at your door at the same time. Sky goes down and Scroll's able to sort of get a couple more points out of the game, and ultimately, you know, you can't really ask for anything more, Minnie.
Yeah, this is smart as well. They were playing in the Storm, I think it was maybe slightly before this, with their pizzas, just to try and ride out a few of those placement points. They actually spent so long in the Storm, and I think ultimately that's where Sky went down. Good effort from Scroll, though, to try and stay alive in that game.
Ja, ik ben vandaag sowieso voor het 4 teams.
They're looking really good
Heb ik vandaag al in de post gezet. Alleen de Nederlanders doen het nou niet zo heel goed, maar ja.
A little bit of a blip right there. What was that? A 10th place with 4 limbs, so not quite their ideal endgame. I think they just couldn't pick up a lot of those refreshes in those endgames. You saw it right there. They picking up eliminations, but they were so high up, and there was no chance they could get those materials. So maybe that's why they went and played the Storm there. But they're still in a really nice position.
And it's a great position for Shark and Genie, given that we didn't see much of them in the end game. I guess Shark clutching so far in game number 1 has set them ahead of a lot of their competitors, Mini Minor.
Yeah, it's a really good start for Shark and Teeny, of course, with that first game. They had a really nice start with that 4th place. This game, not quite as good, and this was obviously maybe a sign of things maybe to look out for this duo. This is a lot of people's concerns, and I know it was one of my concerns as well, as how are they going to make it out of their drop spot? In what shape were they going to make it out of their drop spot? And even though they're still 5th on the leaderboard, that wasn't a great performance for them. 27th with 5 eliminations. So even though the eliminations are high, the placements are not quite there. So that inconsistency is definitely not surprising to me.
But we're seeing consistency, guys, from Pablo and Chino. They've gone up a whopping 8 places to pole position after that performance. 2 endgames now back to back, where we've both seen them putting up the numbers, even more numbers in that game, Levin.
Yes, and I am very, very impressed by these guys. This actually here is sort of the game-winning sort of moment for them, or not winning because they didn't win, but a key game moment for these guys, right? Because what happens is, you see they're on low ground, Zone pulls back, and actually left them in a really bad situation, right? It pulled back against going up the hill, and they're in a position where they're on low ground, they're stuck underneath every team, and they go back out into the Storm, do an up and over rotation, and that leaves them up there. And they didn't have much mats at that point in the game they need to work with, but the key thing for this duo, and this will be key for a lot of the top teams, but even when you're not in a good situation, if you can just keep yourselves long enough in the game, when you're Pablo and Chino, you're gonna find a refresh, right? Make the rotation that keeps you in the game as long as possible. And this is what I talked about in game 1, right? Game 1, we saw them play for height, and I asked the question, is this going to be the strategy they take moving forward? Are they going to keep being a height team, or are they going to actually make use of their talents on the mid and low ground there? If you just keep yourselves in the game long enough, you know these two will find a refresh that will carry them into a top 5 situation, and that's exactly what they did here in game 2.
Yeah, and I think that's going to bring them so much more confidence as well. I mean, we spoke so much about them at the beginning of the day, not having the greatest performances leading into the major finals. They've had glimpses of it, they've had moments, but they haven't had consistency. So now for them to have such a great start and to have all that firepower beside you, even when things don't go so well, they've got to be bringing with confidence right now.
And they are our reigning champions in terms of FNCS majors, guys, given that they did win way back in August. It feels like centuries ago now with Brodoxy. There must be something about being in a finals lobby that really boosts their confidence. I wonder if we can see the leaderboard actually one more time, because I'm just really curious to know where our other big duos are standing at the moment. Vico and Malabuka, for example, that wasn't the best game for them last time round, so I'd love to see where they are on the leaderboard. If not, we'll catch up with them in a bit. I'm wondering with these guys if consistency is going to be an issue from game to game, Mini Minor.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I'm just looking at the leaderboard right now on the monitor here. 15th with 22nd they got in that last game. So again, just going down in that early stages of the end game. We saw some good things from them, right? In that very first game, we saw some exciting moments, but that's when it pays off. When it doesn't pay off, Levin, that's maybe what we're likely to see, some of those sort of mid-game eliminations.
Still early, dogs. Still early. Yeah. I'm not panicking yet. Still early.
Okay. Bit of favoritism, bit of bias towards Vika, maybe?
Not biased, it's just still too early, man. We've still got so many games left.
Fine, not panicking on his behalf, but I will. So let's head to our third game of today. 4 more games to go with Taco and Takata.
With Lobby 3 just around the corner for game day number 1, Takata, there is still ample opportunity for any kind of shortcomings that duos have experienced in these first 2 games to sort of be course corrected in our next 4 matches.
Yeah, we've had a lot of mix-ups, a lot of teams that are starting off a bit rough. I'm thinking mainly of Swizzy and Pixie, but on the contrary, we have duos like Chino and Pablo that back in trios, they were actually champions of Major 3, so now coming in as reigning champions. Chino, Pablo playing as a duo, doing incredibly well. That last match was insane how many elims they were able to get and somehow clutch up that placement despite the tough zone pull. The good news is the battle bus is ready, so let's head on to the third match of the day.
It's always so sick to see when that dominoes moment takes over, though, right? Chino, Pablo, if they get one, if they just start converting them into so many after the fact, they really found a nice flow state in that end game of lobby number 2, and that sort of momentum can really build throughout the course of a day. So at our halfway point, technically speaking, for game day number 1, the main takeaway that I've got so far, Takata, is that you can never expect any sort of guarantees. If you think that you're going to be contested, if you think you're not going to be contested, the lobbies are constantly shifting. For no Aurelian reason, they're hoping to make it 3-0 sweep right now. Xtedi adapted, be able to escape momentarily. They've opted to just go. They don't actually want to challenge Reason and Noah at the gas station, but that might mean
er zijn 2 teams bij hun.
wandering eye
solo.
trying to gauge what's actually taking place and whether or not he could look to try and interrupt it.
I was alluding to earlier, Swizzy Pixie hasn't quite gone their way, but it looks like there's no quick aggression. Sharktini, they've been the ones dominating.
Chip heeft mij erover
clean sweeps of Sharktini, eliminating both Huddy and Fishy. It's been more either they do a lot of tags or maybe they elim one of them, and then they end up rotating out, and Darm Deemish kind of get a little free prize on the side.
I'm also not too pressed about Teeny and Shark. I know we didn't get to actually witness too much of what was taking place with them in that last lobby, but Teeny, we know what you are, okay, buddy? We saw the clips. The production might not have, caught you in 4K, but better not see any more of that user error with the wonky wheel today. Too strong of a team. Be going outside like that. Keto, Hyjo are also being another one of, I think, leading contenders to the action over by Dark Dominion. Gonzo and Truly just waiting with the trap, though. Swizzy not going to be taken out just yet, but it has left Swizzy and Pixie in a dire situation here. Now looking to try and see if they can fight back, and it is a 1-for-1 so far, but now Keto, Hyjo, the doors
Sivy heeft die van iemand knokt. Lekker, man.
Lekker.
Sivy heeft gefinished.
Ik zie het. Lekker, lekker,
Nagi, maar
lekker.
wie is Nagi? Waar zijn ze geland zelfs?
I don't know. Dat is dan
100% alleen daar.
Ja, komt ie aan.
Ze gaan weg, denk ik. Ze zit nog een deel beneden.
Why is there 5 duos here? Why is the whole lobby?
This happens every time, Takata. Every single
Ze zijn gaan terugparty.
I think we saw maybe one Div Cup finals where surprise contested. This mid-map position just draws too much aggression. I think that's part of the reason why it could be difficult to kind of get a nice rhythm build up, but Nathan, Nebs, Humble Hills, they're gonna have to try and defend their opening points here. Darm Deemish just continuing to go on tour around the map today.
Shout out Nathan Nebs, by the way, in the prior season. all they were getting were top 20s, and then right when this season started, 8th, 9th in the Div Cup. Now here in the major finals, top 3 on the leaderboard, looking incredibly strong as they also have the upper hand in this fight.
This is so awkward right now, though, for Darm and Demish. It's going to be down exclusively to Darm, I feel like, to try and turn this one around. Demish incredibly low and separated from his duo, but manages to work his way back together. So the Flowbray Mist Grenade will have some value, but Nathan and Ev, they got a lot of surge out of that. I don't think that they ate as many big shots as what they were delivering. Now it seems like it's getting a little bit more scrappy, but Sharktini looking to just pick up right where they left off over by Wonky Land, northern side. It seems like Cuddy and Fishy were maybe trying to have it be a little bit more of a clean split here by opting more towards the north side of this POI, but Sharktini, they've been very vocal here. Takata, they are refusing to budge. They don't want to allow Cuddy and Fishy the opportunity to even make it to the Major One Summit land, much less make it into a strong placement finish for Game 3.
Now you know the pressure is going to be on for Huddy and Fishy. They are not going to want to split this drop. Well, Shark and Teeny are not going to want to, as they're going to do everything they can, like you mentioned, Taco, to not have them get top 20 here. Now, despite Sharktini not having the greatest match for Game 2 with the 27th, they still held up in terms of eliminations. Issue is, it's 12 matches to be played out today, so it is all about that consistency once we get to the second day, but almost halfway through day 1 here, and just gonna be some more shots back and forth.
Huddy and Fishy are landlocked right now, though, inside that north building over by Wonky Land. Wouldn't be surprised to see further regression still, though. Squibbly continuing to build in action here. Reason and Noah looking to get fraggy. Done a great job at least defending the opening contention by the gas station, but now clearing out POI. That's a whole nother can of worms they've yet to open here in Game 3. Xteri adapted, really making them work for it too. Making good use some of the fish that are already available to build up some of their shields here. Reason wants to go for the opening shot, but adapted, just causing a little bit of a slow burn.
The issue is, despite Noah Reason having clean sweeps in the first 2 matches, and I mean, they haven't won yet in Game 3, but they're clearly the aggressors here. They still just haven't been making it far enough in the end game. I mean, you saw they're 25th on the leaderboard. They went down 28th. 11th in the last one, so quite good, but only 1 elimination. So despite the early games, they're going to have to figure something out for the late.
It's largely just because even when they get the clean sweep over at Squibbly, there's always another team or two that decides to roll on over. Teeny, Shark, though, they want to put an end to this conversation. Huddy going to be the first to fall, but Shark has been taken out.
Come on, boys.
That's going to be elimination for elimination
mag
now.
nog maar mooi een paar kills vandaag. Let's go, man. Net goede kills. Maar ja, die kunnen kijkers dan niet terug. Complicatie hoor ik wel.
Ja, die moet erbij, hè.
Zo, zak het, jongen!
Ja, die was goed.
Broer.
Dat was echt een explosieve.
Ja, jek man, dat was niet een scheet. Dat was niet zomaar een scheet, dat was gewoon een scheet dat wat bij zit was waarschijnlijk, bro. What the fuck?
Die voelde wel lekker.
Gast, dat was echt zo'n natte man.
Will they go right back into the action or will they try and...
Je zult nou maar last van diarree hebben en jij gaat een scheet laten. Hi, jek, broer. Dan ben je wel fuck, bro. Maar ik vind wel eigenlijk tof als je dan een kill maakt, dat je dan gewoon gelijk automatisch geheeld wordt. Dat vind ik wel nice, man.
You had the HP shield advantage, but now it's going to be Twek and Midro who are applying.
This comes as no surprise. First couple of lobbies, Twek and Midro had their plans kind of thrown all over the place, being contested by Darm and Beamish early on. So now they're trying to play a little bit of make up for lost time. Toy Box Ducks, though, seemingly a little bit more in favor of Teeny and Shark right now, but if they can find these 2 eliminations, that would be a huge conversion for Shark and Teeny. It would definitely set them up nicely for an endgame kind of run, but Dweck and Midra, they need points. They also obviously wanted some Surge. Not too sold, though, that they were able to get everything that they were after.
Going back over to Focus and Thomas HD now. This is an interesting one. There's a lot of hype going into this major for Focus and Thomas. One of the best POIs on contested. They're getting the loot every game. They're the type of team that will have a good strategy. But we just didn't really see a lot of them in heats. They won game 1. We didn't have the chance to see a lot of them in heats. And in Div Cups, they were playing well.
Zijn epic name is Focus. Je kunt net zo goed Focus stream van maken.
Number 2 duo. But now predictions going into this, that's where
a
lot of people are placing them. And I mean, they're not disappointing. They did have a bit of a rough start.
Ik ben eigenlijk ook wel eens een keer gaan benieuwd of dat Holy Lisk ook eens een keer aan de cup mee gaat doen, man.
Ja, het is licht ook. Het is van een streamer, hij speelt af en toe Fortnite, maar het geen toernooi.
Alleen zijn eigen toernooi.
Those Div Cup finals. We saw them consistently
in performance
evaluation finals. And more often than not, they were still able to
Daarom heb ik ook speciaal voor gekozen voor de 12 uur stream. Elke keer bij de 100 ga ik sowieso eigen toernooitje. Dan moeten mensen opgeven met welke duo's ze gaan. Top 3 kunnen kiezen onder de 1500 V-Bucks, 500 V-Bucks of 300 V-Bucks. En de laatste 2 die in de top 5 staan, top 4 is een week. Nee, wacht. De top 4 is 2 of 1 maand mod bij mij. En de 5 is een week mod bij mij. En als je hun echt goed hun best doen, dan blijf je mod. Dan kan ik het ook gewoon fixen. Een nieuwe mod. Want ik heb eigenlijk best wel weinig. Dus eigenlijk wil je wat nieuwe mods bij hebben. Als we een beetje opletten dat er niet te veel gekut wordt in die...
It's one thing, when you have to be a track star in a lobby, and when you have to be a track star for multiple games of a lobby, it's bound to cause problems for anyone. Also, they did get surprise contested in at least 2 of those Div Cup finals, if I'm recalling correctly. So,
als de Nederlanders nou even dit potje, even met kleine cirkel even meedoet, zou mooi zijn.
It's the fact that they still got him in the top 2.
Yeah. The issue I'm having was actually in the end game is where I was seeing those kind of flaws. But in the heats, that's why I wanted to see a bit more of the performance in the recent set lobby heats. But they just won too quickly. And now they're winning as well in the major finals, but no one reason.
Ja,
this
toch.
might be exactly what they needed.
Lekker Leo Tatar!
Loadout and set up going in.
Er is alweer een.
They've been going down kind of in the midsection of the match despite winning the early game, but now with a good amount of damage and loot, this could be the match that they were looking for.
Hij heeft alweer 2 kills op zijn naam, jongen, Rezel. Ah ja, goed. Rezel!
Xyv was not expecting company that quickly. Granted, they still got to actually make their way into the next zone. And even with those refreshes and the surge help there, Takata, it was obvious that Reason and Noah were definitely still in a little bit of a pinch. Other teams kind of looking in on where they were at and all that commotion had taken place.
Whoa,
Hayek. When contested duos in the area. Yanis doing a great job though with a quick pickup. Our current leaders in terms of the lobby. Pablo Chino, how are they looking? 109 above. Look at the amount of teams that are rotating in here. This is going to get dangerous quickly, as Pablo's already been cracked.
They thought they were going to get the chance to pounce right there. Instead, forced to come to yet another halt. And that definitely
44 punten nu al. Wow, man.
On their surge. 36 above right now, but they are above. It's just they know now they're going to have to go for a little bit more of a forced engagement as opposed to being able to kind of pick.
Flixie boven.
They wanted to enter into. I dropped the Medius lurking
Als ik al sneak op hun.
Mountain, Chap, Flixie.
Ze hebben hem gezien, ze hebben hem gezien.
It's the quietest builds. Even when it starts picking away at them, but Chap is just too aware. Immediately catches oversight. Mary is going to be forced to send it onto height. They're working against the clock right now. iDrop even forced to drop his pizza early, but Flixie, Chap, you can see how much surge they have. They know.
Ja, maar die pizzas zijn wel overpowered, jongen, voor healing.
Yeah. Continuously trying to force this fight, but iDrop and Medius, again, they just.
Oh, maar die gasten gaan het niet halen, bro.
Hey, het is klaar.
Further and further away from their direction. iDrop now getting ran down by Chap and Flixie, defending their original position here.
Ja, is below, hij gaat dood.
One more tick.
Ja, had hij niet. Cycle.
Storm to close out his game.
Er zitten nog 2 onderin.
This is huge for Chap and Flixie, not only because
er nog 2 man knocked, holy shit.
Hazel, jongen. Hij is aan het koken.
Other corner of the map, and now finally they've got a very solid north zone pull. They've got the loot, everything is going their way in this match, so I'm hoping to see a big one.
Getting a little bit of insight now.
Zo, wat druk.
Where some teams are able to pick up some good eliminations. Scary and Saya is still looking to see what else they can gather. They know
iemand dood.
Kill, ja lekker. GG.
Oké, wat de fuck was dit?
Trying to go toe to toe. Azet and Akrozi, but they won't
be
able to pull that one out still.
I know.
Akrozi and Azet just getting beamed right now by Scary and Ciaz. And they're not the only ones. Look at all the shots coming in for the rest of the lobby. That was a quick drive-by though. And Ciaz will be forced to drop box back up. They are under a lot of pressure though with the surge takes.
Ik ga gewoon met Tilly gewoon die stream openzetten. Weet dat ik niet disconnect word. Tot zo dan.
They're gonna have to keep their lead here as zone pulls further and further away from that snowy mountain.
Hey, Maidro leeft nog.
For you. So limited with their mobility options, and we are pulling towards the northern section of the map with so many elevation shifts. Have to wonder how they're actually going to fare.
Even de namen ook in de gaten houden.
Very familiar sights for these two right now. Just looking back, prime position, taking advantage of teams that were a little bit later to the punch because they were opting to try and find their surge elsewhere on the edge of zone.
Ja, maar Maidro is er nog. Volgens mij.
With so many healthy teams kind of surrounding him, he's going to really have to dig deep here to find a solid placement. Because you don't want to lose hold of being inside that top 5, and that's exactly what he needed. Yarko going to be picked off, but he can't make it to the body loot just yet. Still, it's just buying time with the surge damage.
Ja, er zitten weer een paar op high ground campen.
Open and focus can clutch it up. Yapko Panzer though, incredible zone pull. They're gonna have a bunch of opportunity here. Tag up some players.
Shiffy en Jordi zijn er nog. Hayak.
Through big elevation change for a lot of teams here, but Panzer Yapko are gonna capitalize exactly on that.
Maidro dood. Trackers was ook al dood, dus dat is klaar.
To a certain extent, they could use it to try and stay out of sight, out of mind for the rest of the lobby. But Shark team.
Zo, die wordt even uit zijn lucht gelezen.
Early on, and they are keeping it rolling in stride. Just a couple of really nice eliminations there, punishing teams that are looking to try and work their way into zone. Now everyone's going to start trying to send it, though, towards that front side. You have to go Panzer. They're going to have to try and defend their position.
Come on.
Back, trying to set up. Fully aware of the fact they've got other teams on this same layer. So they're going to have to either go up or down. Unless they're able to convert some eliminations here. But Sky, Scroll, same intentions. Just trying to be a little bit more concealed here with the pullback. That's going to put them now in that front side position of zone.
I'm liking what I'm seeing, though. From 4th place to kick things off. All the way down to 27th in the most recent match. Now, Shark and Teeny up above, looking to see if they can close it.
Oh, Jordi en Ship moeten eventjes gaan healen, bro.
They've got to be careful right when they're splitting loot. The retake from Chap and Flixie comes through, but Flixie is going to fall all the way down alongside Chap, but it looks like they might have got ahead of zone. And it looks like
Chap is er ook nog.
Tough for Shark as he's pushed into a solo situation.
Those opening shots from Chap and Flixie were all
Chap, oh my god, ze hebben high ground, bro. Flixie en Chap hebben high ground. Hoi, no, bro.
He's going to need Siphon, but he won't be able to get it. Just brought down, punished by Chap and Flixie. That was a great time to strike on high. Malabuka Vika, though. They might look to take a stab at it, but first they're going to need to get...
Shiffy heeft een kill! 2 kills! Let's go, bro! Jordi heeft een kill! Oh! Oké. Lekker pick! Lekker pick! Kom op, man, Nederlanders! Kom op! Nee, ze zijn dood! Nee!
And that's going to leave Mamzi to just stay based inside of that secondary height technically, but Cammy Hottie, they're wasting no time. They're tarping things out. Malabuka, Vico, they're just trying to contend with all these players.
Oh, maar wel een goede clutch, man.
Sky Scroll, probably
top 10 of zo.
Still, not a lot of materials to work with. All of these shifting elevation points have just caused everybody to burn through their materials.
Chap en Flixie zijn er nog. Oh, kom op. Hou de high ground, jongen, Chap. Kom op.
Sky down below as well picks up a knock. Pico Malabuka now completely out of the game. Sky jump as a solo as Scroll and Sky without any materials are crumbling as well.
Ai, nou, bro. Kom op. Dit hebben jullie. Flixie en Chap. Dit hebben jullie.
It's Chap and Flixie.
Dit hebben jullie, kom op.
To make it worth the revive was not for naught because Scroll still stuck deep in the ultimate low ground, trying to pray that he can find a third-party intervention.
Deze moeten ze winnen, broer. Shiffy was ook wel ziek bezig op de laatste, man. Heerlijk. Ik zeg het je, deze pot gaat het weer worden, boys. Kom op. Heerlijk! Zeg het je! Ja! Chip! Kom op! Ja! Flixie en Chap winnen, broer! Let's go, pick!
The moment they get a north pulling zone, they bring home the win.
Capitalized on it instantly. Flixie showing how badly he wants to represent his own country in Germany, Dusseldorf later this year. Let's see if they can continue the pace. We're heading back to our analysts.
Thank you so much. They needed a solid game, and I'm guessing they'll be delighted with that victory royale because Chap and Flixie were 34th on the leaderboard, page 4, before we went into that game. And it was similar to Cringe Volker's win in game number 1, Mini Minor, them versus a load of solos.
Yeah, it was. I think they were the last duo there. There was 5 players alive. They were in a top 4 situation. Really nicely played from those guys.
Come on.
They played that low ground really, really well. Claimed a lot of the space, editing players. Very sort of typical as you'd expect for a low ground team. So maybe this is something to expect from these guys moving forward. But again, like Taco said, North Pulling Zone, really favorable for them, and they made the most of it.
What can you say? I think these guys, in that situation, you just expect them to deliver, right? In that position, you just have to smash it home, and you can't let games like that go. You're right, Dominic. The execution on it was great. I think the reality for this team is that they've kind of gone under the radar for a lot of people. because again, it's just not been the best of seasons for them. I think it's not been as flashy. The performances in general haven't been as amazing, but you can't doubt the talent here, right? Flixie and Chap have both shown in many duo finals over the years that they are two of the better players in the region. And in situations like this, Mini, where again, they're just on low ground and you just have solos dropping down, it's barbecue chicken, man. It's easy for them, right? They're not going to have an easier situation than that. Give him props for that final shot there. Nice little jump shot there from Flixie. So, again, a good game, but we need to see more of that from these two, right? I wouldn't, you know, get too excited about them right now. We want to see them do that when zones aren't as favorable, maybe.
Well, we'll see what kind of zone they get after the break.
Ja, ja. En jij hebt van de telefoon. Ik ga kijken hoe hoog dat we kunnen gaan. Oké, zo hoog kun je maar eigenlijk even testen. Ja, dit is het hoogst. Zou ik in het water kunnen springen zo?
Welcome back. If you didn't know, we're going to Düsseldorf in May, and the top 20 duos from EU make it. So Chap and Flixie, obviously Flixie being from Germany, want to be one of those duos, which is why they got themselves a victory royale before the break. Right, everyone in the audience is now caught up. So let's talk about some of the other duos, because Sky and Scroll, we're going to be talking about them after every single endgame with the consistent way that these guys are playing. Yes, Scroll ended up as a solo yet again, but Sky was with him for the long haul, Miniminer.
Yeah, there's a little bit more smooth from them, a little bit more what we expect. In that last game, they were playing Storm. They couldn't get refreshes. They had to sort of survive a little bit uncharacteristically low on the materials and, of course, on the heals. But this one, Lemon, was a lot more characteristic for them, using, actually, the roller coaster to make an elimination right there, which is really nice, really crafty from them. But, again, really, really nice from these guys. Low ground plays, finding eliminations, staying hip to hip, a little Scroll solo clutch as well to get an extra placement point as well. Really nicely done from them.
Yeah, and taking out their competitors on the leaderboard in the end game, right? You saw them take Chino down, and now they move into first place.
Yes, this is where we're expecting to see them. And I'm so sorry for interrupting you there, Levin, but I got very excited to see where Focus and Thomas are because I was a little bit concerned after that game. We didn't see much of them. I was thinking they were going to be further down the standings, but they are in 4th right now. So, Levin, all is not lost, clearly.
No, not at all. And I think the key thing for these guys is when they make it to these end games, they're going to have to continue to frag out. Because what we're already seeing from Sky and Scroll very early on in first place is that they are the consistent team, right? Their average placement so far today is going to be 6. I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to keep a single-digit, average placement all throughout the weekend, right? And so if you are Focus and Thomas, how do you beat that? How do you top that? Especially where you might not be as consistent, you got to find the 11th minute.
Yeah, you got to find those limbs. They got 6 of them in that last game. Of course, they can't find those placements. And we saw it in that previous game as well, managing to win up there on height. If they make it to those latter stages, they can pop off. It's just a matter of getting there. Again, a little bit of a difficult zone for them, more calling towards the north, so not quite as favorable. But the talent that they both have, you expect them to pop off an endgame. It's just getting there.
Let's take a look at the leaderboard because Shark and Teeny, that was a zone in their favour given that it was ending on wonky land. However, early game fights off spawn did see Teeny have to reboot Shark 11, but it's great to see them in 3rd place because they came back as if nothing had ever happened.
Yeah, look, it's a...
Chap en Flixie staan nu wel in de ranked.
Ultimately, this game is a weird one because it turned on its head, right? They started off rough, they go down, they're able to recover it really well, and you see moments like this where you're thinking, all right, they had a rocky start to the game, but they're right back in it. It's Shark and Teeny time, baby. And then this happens, and then you're like, oh, this might not be the game for them. And as good as Shark is, he's only able to do so much in this end game, and so you have a game where, yeah, we're looking at it ends in wonky, you're thinking, even with the rough start they had to the game, they're still in a position to deliver, and they don't quite squeeze enough points out of it, at least for a team of their level.
Missed opportunity. That's all I can think of right there. When you go down on spawn, you lose all that time. You have to scramble, you have to try and recover, go down in the end game, and the zone is at your drop spot. It is the worst feeling for them right now. Hopefully they can bounce back, though, and find a little bit more success off spawn, because ultimately that's what's causing them all the problems right now. We saw it when they get to end game. They're pretty good. They're getting those frags. They're staying consistent right there. Not quite sure
Maar Chic, Chip en Flixie hebben een win
maybe a bit of a misplay there in hindsight, but hopefully they can now bounce back.
You mentioned misplays, Miniminer, and I know that you love a bit of full damage, and I can't believe we're doing this, but we're going to do it because Cammy and Harry were looking great in the end game, maybe feeling a bit of the pressure, especially that Chap and Flixie were piling on, and we lost Cammy in a real unfortunate way, Miniminer.
Yeah, I think I want to just clarify here. I don't love seeing players go down to full damage, but I love the fact that it can happen to them, right? It makes them feel human. It makes me feel better about myself because yeah, that happens. Unfortunately, that is what happens in Fortnite if you fall that distance. Really unfortunate for Cammy. Again, another one of those situations where they were set up for success. Another missed opportunity for one of our teams here. Set up on high, now with Hari as well, in a much better position than we saw them in that first game. Less scrambly. Full damage. I mean, it's not something you'd expect from Cammy right there, but got a little bit unlucky.
I was expecting, Miniminer, that you were going to pull off one of your GGs back to the lobby just then.
I think if I was the one that took him out, then maybe I would do that, but, maybe not yet.
So let's talk about this next game that's coming up. We're halfway through day 1. Obviously, there's 12 games across the entire weekend. Sky and Scroll, just the most consistent duo here, as we're expecting. But have there been any surprises so far for you, Levin?
I think Pablo and Chino looking as good as they did. I think there were quite a few people who I think doubted their ability to sort of be a threat and to be, consistent. And of course, we still have some games left, but I think we've seen in a variety of different zones them still be able to make it to these end games and showcase their ability. So if there is going to be one team pushing, Sky and Scroll to the end, it's good to see their Danish rivals being the ones there.
Miniminer, very quickly.
I mean, I completely agree. Also surprised at Swizzy and Pixie. The amount of teams that are in there at Dark Dominion right now, I broke it down at the beginning of the day. It's likely to be happening, but not to this degree. I wasn't expecting it to be this much, so they're struggling a little bit more than I expected today.
I'd like to see them at the beginning of the game if we can. So let's head over, get ready for game 4 with Taco and Takata.
Thank you, Frankie. Yeah, it's very tough for Swizzy and Pixie. We've talked about it, Taco.
Ai, goede wie.
Chap en Flixie, bro. Win.
Ja, ik heb het gezien op het YouTube-kanaal van Fortnite Competitive. Was wel een 4 solo's, hè.
Maar Siffy is ook wel ver gekomen in dit potje, bro.
Redelijk ver, ja.
Ja, man. Alleen jammer dat ze niet in de top 20 staan, dat is wel kut.
Maar ze hebben nog kansen.
Ja. Maar was wel een ziek. Ik vond dit potje van iedereen eigenlijk best wel ziek.
Mijn beeld hangt vast bij 36 seconden.
It is only day one to
Even
Kata. We've got
lievend,
game
sorry.
4 that's about to begin, so I really can't wait to see what happens next. To kind
Ik
of
vond dit potje iedereen wel aardig spelen van de 4 dat ik support, man.
Chip staat 6e nu.
Ja, wat wil je met die win, jongen? Dat was gewoon tante goed.
That's in the top 10 range is Sky and Scroll. Let's see what happens next. Game 4 is ready to go.
Oké, ik heb het beeld.
He's got a little bit of an overview in terms of what's been happening at Dark Dominion. You can already see the immediate 50-50 contest right there.
Je bent weer aan het glitchen in die stoel.
Ja. Hey, weet je wat je moet doen? Kijk ze helemaal omhoog, dan zie je gewoon je billen tussen die stoelen. Ah, jek.
Ja. Ah, Rezen is...
Vond iedereen wel goed van onze mensen die we supporten nu. Ik vond ze de potje 3 echt wel goed doen.
7v2 nu. Noah tegen die 2.
Too aggro, yeah. It's just gonna be a disengage here, Takata. He knows that.
Gas hebben nog maar 38 punten. Wat de fuck.
Eerste keer dat ze een beetje aan het winnen zijn. En die doet, maar ja, dat is niet 2, hè. Ze gaan niet achter Noah aan, what the fuck.
Durven niet.
Wow.
Wat?
What did this guy? This guy viel dood. Heb je dat gezien?
Ja.
What the fuck?
They are not having a good day, Taco.
That kind of just sums up their day, though, no?
Wie heeft je van dood? Lekker, man.
CV, kom op, bro.
Ik weet niet of dat zijn enkel is, maar... Kijk, hij maait trouwen.
Maar die chap was wel lekker bezig. Rezen was ook wel lekker bezig op zich, want die had ook best wel veel kills.
Ja, maar ze zijn redelijk snel doodgegaan.
Ja.
Want placement krijg je echt pas echt fucking laat pas.
Ja. Fuck.
Both his teammates didn't make major finals and now Swizzy is
hoeveel punten zou Siffy nou hebben?
Ik weet niet, ze zijn nog niet in beeld geweest. Dat eigenlijk altijd degenen die aan het fighten zijn, laten ze vaak zien. Ja. Als er teams in bij elkaar zijn ongeveer, zoiets, ik weet niet.
Oh ja.
Jordi is not, no.
No.
Dat is gefinished.
As we continue forward, the good news is we've only played out 3 matches.
Dat is jammer.
3 to go today, and then tomorrow a whole other 6. So for Sky and Scroll,
alleen Siffy nog.
They are comfortably sitting in that number 1 spot.
And the main thing for them is they just want to keep
trying
to
extend that lead.
Right now they're 20 points ahead. Second place, Chino Pablo sitting at 156 heading into this 4th lobby. So Sky, Scroll, they're not looking to let their foot off the gas pedal anytime soon here. And they've really done an excellent job, I think, at kind of proving.
Eigenlijk zou het wel makkelijk zijn als je gewoon kon doorgeven voor welke team je bent, dat je gewoon alleen je team kan bekijken. Dat zou ook wel nice zijn.
Ja.
Everybody else is 10 or worse, which is honestly quite interesting. It just shows how difficult this lobby is. They're currently average placement of 6, so I wouldn't expect anything less. I mean, having an average placement of 4 in the Div Cups leading up to this, Sky and Scroll, they know how to play consistently.
It's always going to be a sight. Over at Wonkyland though.
Ik heb mij toch gaan winnen hoor.
Ja. Holy shit, bro!
Argentinië gedestroyed,
Zo, geneukt, maat! Zijn geshit, maat! Wow! Die guys weten niet wat ze overkwamen, bro. Hoi, jep. Chap, Flixie?
Ik had fucking glider, jongen.
Flixie, jongen, wat doe je?
Hey bro, Shark en team zijn niet dood, hè, dus Shark heeft, dus andere teams kunnen hem gewoon inhalen.
Ja. Ja, Chap heeft wel de grootste kans. Chap zit helemaal daar en daar is helemaal niemand geland. Helemaal dat stuk daar. Wow, bro.
Nou, maar je zit alleen, ja.
Maar dat is wel heel heftig als dat niet zo is.
Good zones every single game. Good news is when you're up there, you do have the super pad, takes you over 330 meters in the sky.
Ah, jek man, we hebben daar gewoon ruimte voor onszelf. Dat is wel fucking chill.
Ik was zo blij toen die twee gewoon net gewonnen waren, jongen.
Ja man, ik zat
helemaal daar.
Ja. Er zit wel een team langs hun.
It's always going to be an uphill battle though. When you're left as a solo.
Je zit hier gewoon fucking te campen, broer.
A little bit more difficult to come by because there are just so many.
Ja, volgens mij. Oh, nou laat maar. Ik denk die is ook naar de wc of zo. Gaat ook even op.
Ja, dat gaan ze niet tijdens een game doen hoor.
You have to deal with everybody else taking your duo one more time, just putting your net surge even further and further.
Ze heet niet allemaal Marvel, hè?
Ja, ik weet niet of ze veel dood is, ik heb geen idee.
Nee, ik heb hem nog niet doodgaan, alleen jullie volgens mij.
Ja, wat kan ook gebeurd zijn tijdens een replay dat we het niet zien.
Dat zou kunnen, ik weet het. Of hij is weer gereboot, kan ook. Ik heb geen idee. Oh, maar die Maidro en net met die kill. Oh, maat. Die was wel echt lekker, man.
That would be ideal. Being able to make both.
Flix heeft iemand nog lekker, man.
Ja, let's go.
Leading the pack in finals appearances, but I'm just gonna ignore, forget what happened in the last match, okay? Let that not affect our mental.
Ja, maar het was wel echt een goede play van hun, hè, dat ze op de high ground bleven zitten. Chip en Flixie. Nou, mijn beeld loopt vast.
Ja, ik ben even naar de lobby gaan en teruggejoind, daar helpt, dat werkt.
Ga ik ook even doen.
Lobby like this, the patterns, you gotta remember them.
Hey, je glitcht gewoon in die stoel, bro. Wat?
Ja, dat zeg ik ook bij jou.
Wow.
Ja, raar, shit.
Dat ziet er niet uit, bro.
These are FNCS champions, they have LAN experience. This is some of the best in EU. It's those veteran players. So I'd like to see them higher up, but can't complain with the top.
Ja, deze wordt gechopt, jongen. Is klaar voor je.
En Panzer already got some initial damage.
Ja, dood.
Panzer will be able to convert it into just a clear elimination now. Schmally just trying to stay hidden, hoping that Panzer don't decide.
Hij zit daar gewoon letterlijk in zijn huppie nog achter de kutsteek. Teammate is gelukt, jongen. Wat ga je doen, hè?
Ah, ze zijn al dood. Ze fusief is ook dood. Ze hebben 40 punten.
Ja, dat gaat er niet worden voor ze zijn.
Ja,
het kan nog.
Didn't know. Much more favorable position. We've seen what they end up doing with all the surge bases here. You do have to be careful now, though, because you try tagging the other surge bases, but you take damage yourself. It is
de eerste keer grens voor de tweeën, dus ja.
Ja.
So it's not quite as easy as before.
Ze mogen wel blij zijn dat ze mee mogen doen.
Was not really liking those up close and personal fighting options.
Hydro.
Oh.
Great twin hammers, great iron pump. Rough, but
interesting.
Hydro and Tweg. They've got control of the mending machine. A couple of patch-ups. Putty Fishy though. They are just trying to see if they can break into the box. They want to get really aggressive here against Hydro, and for good reason. Fishy going to open up with a big knock. That just means it's all down to Tweg to try and defend his duo's hopes here, but it's just not going to be enough. And there is so much time now for Huddy and Fishy. They've got the wheel to make their next rotate, but we saw what happened inside of the heat that they played. The one lobby that they didn't have to worry about Shark and Teeny at all. They were able to convert into a victory royale, Takata. So now the question is, can they do it again in a set lobby finals?
Well, based on the way they've started out this day, they basically have to. Is all I'm gonna say. 43rd place, 8 points. They need a massive match here.
Oh yeah.
For 9 though, the quick zipline shot. But yeah, I'm hoping we see Huddy and Fishy make something happen because I would like to see them up there.
Nathan and Nebzo over by Sus Studios, just kind of hanging around their surge base, but they're going to need a little bit more surge. Only 34 above that threshold. Venus and Franek not too far away from their current position, but they
liggen er alweer uit. Alleen Rezon en Chip zitten er nog in als het is dan.
That just made into the next edge of zone in the first place. That's why we're seeing a lot of teams that are kind of hurting for surge, just lingering around the edge of zone. They know that's like going to be their best opportunity. Since they're the first ones.
Wie zegt dat?
Always want to take advantage of the late arrivals, but you have to be wary. The moment you send out shots, you might even draw attention from other teams that are, you know, maybe boxed up a little bit higher than you. We've seen players get punished for that before.
That we have. Lucia, Howley. Strong start to the day, but it was just that one match. Rest of them haven't gone quite their way, but no O'Reilly reason. They need to find a refresh here, and the aggression is not lacking.
Nee, Rezon is dood.
No. Shaco's though is incredibly low, and just look at those chug jugs. No O'Reilly gonna be able to convert, and the elimination. Tilio.
Ah, kan reviven.
Now means
dat is wat hem doet.
Nice. Lekker Noah. Lekker man.
This is looking like a little bit of the road to recovery for these two.
About recovery. Huddy and Fishy continuing.
En misschien verandert zich geen Jordi van Drop. Jordi heeft op een stream plek screen gezet, dus misschien gaat ze wel veranderen.
And Huddy Fishy are looking very good now. Incredible loadout, matched, surge, everything you could ever want. You called it, Taco. Once they had an opportunity like this previously, they won the
Fishy is goed, oh, iedereen is goed in deze lobby.
It would be ideal. It's always nice to jump a few placements on that leaderboard, but Nebs, Nathan, they were trying to take a route that dipped a little bit more into a ravine over by New Sanctuary, hoping to conserve some of their material, but unfortunately they were not the only ones performing repairs. Cause them to expend a little bit more mass than they would like to, and there are just so many other teams already based up higher health positions. Great job there by Thomas.
Wie heeft de hoogste punten tot nu toe?
It's a 2-pack finish for Focus and Thomas, but
ja.
even with
Volgens
two
mij Sky en
eliminations, they're still
Scroll.
only 128 above. Focus trying to eat pizza on the way in, but
Zo, ik weet
Cody
niet.
just looking to try and hold this duo out.
Yeah, Neb's Nathan though. Doing a good job.
No, let's do it.
Here. They need to find these tags.
Zou ik door de storm als ik
Scroll now though.
Sowieso.
This is the worst we've seen them heading into an end game. They're always a good amount above. Now they're just right bouncing up and down the surge threshold above and below. We'll see if they're capable of finding a good amount of tags here.
But it's a lot of our top 10 leaderboard players that
En
are
Rizom is ook
struggling
dood.
with their surge in this lobby. Takata, Nebs,
Deze
and
moet pakken ze niet
Nathan,
zoveel.
they're still sitting 79 below, having to use up a lot of resources just to try and heal it out, hoping that the lobby takes care of itself. As Thomas, you can already see, just too problematic. Focus eliminated. He'll be forced to play the remainder of this as a solo, and Nebs, Nathan immediately jumped on. Teams can smell it out when a
Je hebt
duo
iemand
is
dood.
Iemand, ja.
They take their opportunity to strike, refresh.
Weer een.
Something that
Jeff
they're
is knocked.
likely in need of as well.
I know.
Trying to take advantage of these players. Gliding in after
Flikje
the
heeft gekild. Ja, lekker man. Dan wordt hij nou geen revive.
Dat is toch ook weer.
I have a feeling there's only one reason we are
Flikje weer volgens mij, bro. Ik zag weer.
Dat is erin vliegen. Oh, Flex zit in de storm.
Oh,
Chip is
nou.
dood toch.
Chip, ja, Chip. Flikje.
Ja, dat gaat hem niet halen.
Wie is er nog over dan?
Ik ben in, denk ik.
Jammer.
Lekker Maitras en ja, iedereen is dood.
Now 197 below. You were talking about it. All these top teams, they are just put into panic now.
Oh, jek man.
Cringe picked up Flixie.
Dat was echt
Great
cringe.
shot connecting, but this is getting chaotic.
But even if you got high ground, if you don't have surge, you can't really do much with it. Instead of being able to apply pressure to the duos underneath, maybe look for some clean refresh eliminations. Instead,
Vorige game won Chip en Flixie. Game daarvoor. Tweede game won Thomas en Focus. En de eerste game won Volko en Cringe.
He's just praying an opportunity opens up, but no one is really giving him the chance to try and take any shots. He has to connect. It's now or never. Otherwise,
yeah, he's done.
Just gonna take him out. And before he can even try and react, the player just scouts out solo. That'll be
he's the fucking done.
Pico Malabuca, though, they actually do have Surge to work with. But they are
Even kijken, wat een chaos, bro.
Where their next rotational pool is actually going to hinge on.
This is a perfect opportunity, though, for duos like Vico Malabuca.
Tering veel mensen zijn over.
Below. Now, with a lot of these top teams having gone down, it's your chance to push your
58 punten.
Side note, I saw Thomas HD solo in height with no shield.
Hey, fake it till you make it.
Let's see what he can do.
He's postured up right now. It's very obvious. He might even be hoping that somebody tries to challenge him on height, because if he can connect just one big shot, that could be the difference maker. Siphon loot, siphon health. You never know when the tables can actually turn in your favor. Thomas hoping to be given a little bit of a break here, but Panzer, Yapko, the way that they're sort of hovering that secondary height, they choose to go up now. The wait and see is Thomas. He's found options. Schmally, though, cleared out. It's a body that Thomas can't get to, though. With no fist, no overdrive grenades, he just doesn't have any mobility.
Yeah, he doesn't really have anything, to be fair. Pablo Chino, though, great job picking up an elim. This is one of our top duos who are looking healthy. As now Sky and Scroll getting closer as well to height. Thomas, if he's known for anything other than the second places, it's his aim. And that's showing with the elim, but Vico Malabuca as well now. Picking up some extra elims as Sky and Scroll seem to have made a solid comeback.
Lupshi was looking a little bit pinched there for a moment, but Sky Scroll indirectly going to be able to bail him out, putting pressure against Vico. Is going to force him to close off here, but Cheatin' Giannis, 10 splashes, a pizza. They've definitely got the heals for it. A good amount of material count too.
Deze guys kunnen wel winnen. Ze hebben mets.
It's just extending them the favor of being able to take over height for the time being. But it's one thing to have height, it's another thing to hold it, and we've seen how many swap overs have taken place in the previous lobbies beforehand. Thomas HD, though, still kicking as a solo. Forced to play, though, from a lower layer. He's just hoping that he can get that one big shot. Managed to find an overdrive grenade, though, at least along the way here, but still, he needs to find a player that's going to be weak enough to fall the moment that he connects with this Chaos Reloader. It is just so threatening, and he just doesn't get the chance.
Still a good clutch for what he entered the end game with. Giannis cheating, though. A lot of the big teams kind of struggle in this match. I'm not sure how many retakes we'll see come through. Pablo Chino, though, this is one of the big teams that are doing it incredibly well in this match. If they want to push their way up in that leaderboard and separate the gap from the players below them, now is their chance. Moneymaker goes down. The pressure is on for these teams below, but Giannis and Cheatin, they are smooth cruising up in the clouds.
Size and Scary, they're just hoping to stay standing on their 2 feet here. Size gonna be the first one to be knocked, though, from the pairing, and Scary just scrambling all around, doesn't have any build, so he's just waiting to try and avoid as many shots as possible. But Malabuka, Vico, they've sent it, they've gone for height. Giannis cheating, though, they're not gonna forfeit it anytime soon here. Another overtake, they managed to
holy shit, jongen.
Vico, Malabuka forced to drop, and that left them in such a tattered position. They're now trying to get the job here onto Cheatin and Giannis, but they've got more than enough materials to work with, so they'll be able to just reconnect later on, slightly lower, but still applying so much pressure to this lobby, and the pizza's gonna come out.
Man, pizza's zijn zo powered, man.
Dropping straight to ultimate low, picking up eliminations along the way. He needs the points. He lost Yapko, but the siphon isn't gonna be enough. The storm is too much to contend with.
We're reaching the moment for the chaos on
Giannis is knocked.
Players running out of mats.
Cheating wordt gecontest.
I hope he didn't slip. Lucia, Howley, they capitalize on it. Overtake height, looking to close it out, but we still have Sky and Scroll down below. Elimination after elimination getting picked up. The regroup comes through as well. Can Howley and Lucia close this out? Will Sky and Scroll be able to win from below?
Can't count out Cheatin, though, who's also trying to play a little bit of a healing game from inside the storm, but Sky,
Cheatin zit nog altijd pizza te eten, jongen. What the fuck? Jij is nu terug. Kijk die bergen, bro. Holy shit.
Ja.
Sky. Verder in AP.
Oh. Wat een schot.
Lala. Cheaten. Zijn 2 solos. Ja, het is 1 tegen 2. GG's. Oh! Hij moet siphon krijgen. Hij moet finishen. Nee, jammer. Jammer.
Maar wel nog de kill gepakt, jongen.
Ja, was nog spannend, bro.
Ziek.
Was starting to get
Die was
nervous
wel
a little
ziek,
bit
ja.
there for Sky and Scroll. Neither player had shield. It was looking like they could lose the 1v2, but our most consistent duo
Sky en Scroll zijn gewoon zo goed, jongen.
Is looking strong.
Ik denk dat ze op eerste staan.
So they can break it
De
down.
niet op.
Ja, ik weet
Thank
niet.
you very much, guys. Finally, we see Sky and Scroll taking a victory royale. They were not relying on wins at all in their heat. They're so consistent. They don't
Holy
need to.
shit,
It's
man.
fantastic to see them take a W11.
They are keeping that average placement low, and can we just give props to Sky there for being the highest impact knocked player in the tournament so far. You saw just how much Cheating was just trying to find the finish, and Sky is just like crawling behind the object so he can't get shot until Cheating couldn't get the siphon, and then it just allows Scroll to roll on through and hit the shot the second Cheating left the box. Well played from these two again. It's been an impressive day. I think the win just summarizes how good they've been so far, Minnie.
Yeah, and even in that end game, they were quite quiet. A lot of the sort of focus, I suppose, was on the height and the teams up there.
22 kills vandaag.
Mid-ground layers, but they were just silently, quietly getting their eliminations down on the mid-ground, finding their refreshes, not trying to do anything too crazy, playing out their game as we know that they can do.
Ik vond het.
You mentioned that the knocked body situation right there, because I was looking at it from the other angle. I was looking at it from that whatever it was, like telephone pole or whatever.
The
it was
World
actually
Cup.
saving that game. I think they have that object. whatever it was to thank for that as well. Really nice genius plays from them. But it just shows that these guys can win games. We spoke about them being very consistent, consistently making that top 2 from that top 5 situation. We broke it down at the beginning. But what we haven't seen so much from them, particularly when it comes to the heats, of course, was that victory royale. That was almost the missing thing from what we've seen in FNCS, and there it is in that game. Really nicely played. They didn't panic, and I think it was Scroll who picked up a really crucial shot onto
Global
Championship. I mean, that was incredible. Shows what they can do individually. It was Sky, actually. This shot right here keeps them in the game and keeps them alive there as well. And this was the object, 11. It was this moment right here that allowed Cheaton to, or didn't allow Cheaton to go for the finish and then ultimately win them the game. Really nicely done from them.
I love how...
Can I say the words?
Go.
You can say it.
Can I say it?
I'll load
Jeez Louise, these guys are too
good.
I mean, how do you stop these guys? Ow!
GG, Levin. Let's head back to the lobby. You guys, let's head to a break.
Ja, een break. Waarom moeten we eigenlijk altijd van zo 8 tot 10 minuten wachten ongeveer? Het is gewoon, ja, je bent een potje gewonnen en je gaat ready en je bent er in een game. Moeilijk is.
Ja, misschien kunnen ze dan nog even zijn eigen opmaken of zo, weet ik veel wat. Eén ding weet ik wel, ik heb voor wat te zuipen halen, man. Ik heb het over back.
Gezellig. Ik heb focus.
Focus, ja.
Hey, hi.
Tot zo.
Oh. Hey, globals, holy shit. Ja, and man. Het is dan een leuk event. Ja.
A masterclass from Sky and Scroll before the break, taking game 4 in style. Let's take a look at the leaderboard and see where we are 4 games into the Major 1 finals here in Europe, because it's been a really interesting day so far. Disappointment for some big names, but if you take a look at the top, Denmark is celebrating. Pablo and Chino. We're expecting to see them in Dusseldorf, but I don't think we're expecting them to see them in number 2 on the leaderboard right now, Miniminer.
Yeah, it's funny because it feels weird to say we weren't expecting them to, because they're such great players and they've achieved so much as of late with the trio of Fredoxy. It just hasn't been their season, but they're turning it up to 11 here for the major finals, Levin. They've been performing very well, exactly as we expected them to. It's another good end game for those guys right there as well. 5th place with 3 eliminations. Not necessarily too frag heavy, but especially in some of those zones, it was really, really tough for them. A little Pablo Wingu solo clutch here as well, all the way up to that top 5. But really nicely done from these guys. Can they keep the consistency there?
Yeah, man. Look, Frankie's talking about surprises. Hey, I wasn't surprised. I think everyone else should stay on that side. Because I told you, Chino and Pablo have something for this lobby, and they have shown that today again. It's going to be hard to catch up when you have Sky and Skrull, monsters of the region above you, but they are really showing a good account of themselves today.
It's really great to see them getting things done as a duo, as opposed to Pablo just having to be the one to hide and clutch it out for once. I'm really excited to see more from these guys. If we take a look further down the leaderboard, look at number 6, Sayers and Scary. We have to talk about these so that Takata will pay us handsomely. A Spanish duo, relatively unknown in this lobby, Levin, but they're impressing with their consistency.
Yeah, look, they've got a lot of experience, right? Sayers and Scary have been around for quite some time now. And I think ultimately, yeah, a big surprise that they've been able to sort of make it to endgames. And the reality is when they've made it to endgames, they've now had, you know, sort of 2 games where, again, they've actually shown a good account. They obviously had that 3rd place in game 2. And in that game there, when they run out of steam, they're still able to just get a couple of limbs that just keep them ticking on that leaderboard. So really impressive here from the Spaniards.
It's also impressive for Janice and Cheating. We saw them taking high in one of the earlier games today. They went for the same strat this time, and they didn't fall off Mini Miner, because we were teetering on the edge for a moment there.
Yes,
they didn't
until
both
they
fall
did.
off.
Yeah, they didn't both fall off until Janice did. They held height really well. Ultimately, we saw, I think it was Malambuka going up without Vico, weirdly enough, and tried to sort of disrupt that high ground. Didn't quite work out for him, but it ultimately meant that they then got sprayed out. It actually helped them because they were actually able to connect then to a existing Sky base, an existing Surge base that was already in the area. The reason why they didn't win the game, that telephone wired pole thing, whatever that thing is, was ultimately the reason why I didn't have a good shot of winning right there, and of course their Sky and Skrull one. Unfortunate to see another fall damage. Again, I don't love to see it, but it just reminds me that these players are human, and I am not the only one that does that.
Yeah, Janice is a legend, right?
He's a bit upset with himself on that one. He actually tweeted out saying, "I'm a sellout." So he obviously feels like, you know, they would have had a better game had it not been for him dropping off. The one thing I'll say to you, Janice, is you're doing amazing. I think so many people counted these guys out and were not expecting them to be anywhere near the top 5. And so to see them playing as well as they played so far today, props to them.
Yeah, props to Cheating as well for clutching that second. It very nearly looked like he was going to win that one. He isolated. So great to see such a great turnout from these guys. But I want to see who isn't doing so well. I know that sounds particularly evil. Send all your complaints my way, but it's because as we get to the later pages of the leaderboard, we're seeing some big names here who are in big trouble. Remember, the first 2 pages of what counts. You want to make it to the land in Düsseldorf. Top 20 is where you need to be. And if we head to which we never do on a day 1 of a grand final, especially, we are making an exception, because in 47th place, 11, it's Swizzy and Pixie.
Ik heb mij er al 45. Ik heb Rezo niet eens gezien. Staan ze dan?
It's not looking good. Look, we highlighted. Mini set the expectation at the start of the day that Dark Dominion was gonna be. It's gonna be tough because it's gonna be.
Dat Swizzy en Pixie zo laag staan is crazy, man. Want Swizzy heeft nog de World Cup gewonnen. Globals.
Right? We tune into that POI and there's like 4 different teams at the start of the game, and it's like Swizzy and Pixie have no room to breathe whatsoever, and they're really struggling to deal with it. I don't see things getting much better anytime soon. They're in a tough situation.
But there's just 2 more games today for these guys to reset and just try and get something done, you know? Gone are the days of the 1.5x multiplier. They need to have ideas. They need to have them right now as we head into game number 5 with Taco and Takata.
Part of those new ideas might even
maar ik heb nou ook zo'n programma dat ik gewoon tegenwoordig
and that's kind of I think a difficult spot to be in if you are such a veteran duo like Swizzy and Pixie, because normally you anticipate, you know, I've done my time in the scene, I should have this fully uncontested, but truly in Gonzo, they just won't have any of it. So we'll get a chance to see what's actually taking place in Game 5 here one more time.
Game gaat beginnen, bro.
Ja, kom maar aan.
Oh,
the good news is, as we've been mentioning, it's a 2-day tournament, so you kind of have the transition from day 1 to day 2 to do your homework, do your prep, and...
Ik kom even... Waar ben jij?
Are they gonna switch their drop?
Ja, ik moet even naar boven komen. Ik moet even terug laten vallen.
Something isn't working.
Oh, ja.
And side note, I mean, what is up with players falling off a height? I feel like every game today, at least one player has fallen off a height and gone down. I don't know if I'm losing my mind, but it's got to be more matches than not.
Listen, all I'm gonna say is it happens to the best of us, and as many already kind of pointed out, everyone is human. And I think that those
maar heb jij dan nog wel tijd om die cup te gaan spelen? Want...
Ja, ik heb nog wel tijd.
It goes how it goes, but that's not to say that
7 uur is toch
later on.
Ja, 8 uur klaar of zo, ik weet niet.
That's true.
10.
I'm curious too.
Hè?
Zij zijn ook nog in plek geland, die ja, dat toch top 10.
Riley and Reason also not too well for
them. Top 10.
They won the initial fights off spawn. Now for the 4th match, they went down here in the 5th one.
Duurt dit tot 10 uur, dat kan niet.
What they're really after is just getting these first couple of eliminations.
Maar die andere
and adapted. They know that there's going to be other players challenging them.
Kan die andere ook kijken dan?
So the longer it takes them to wipe out this other duo, the more dangerous it's going to be to actually stick around inside of Squibbly, because then you don't know where players might choose to actually try and crouch high behind every single nook and cranny. You just don't want to take your chances of opening a door. Next thing you know, 2 players waiting in tow with shotguns at the ready. It's just, it leaves...
Dit is nou bijna de laatste game, toch? Hierna pas, denk ik.
Dit is de voorlaatste.
Ja, ja.
Check heeft iemand dood.
Flixie ook, volgens mij. Ja, Flixie ook.
Teams from afar taking shots. I don't think full aggression's gonna come through, but...
Maar hoe kunnen hun zo'n fucking van zo ver kijken en raak schieten, man? What the fuck?
Oh my goodness.
It's not looking good.
Hoe dan, jongen? Je zult bijna zeggen dat het gewoon fucking hackers zijn, bro. Kom op, zeg.
Ja, die guy is daar een beetje kut beneden.
Ja.
We'll have to wait and see what's actually been developing over at Wonkyland, because right now Painted Palms heating up.
Fucking.
Wolvex and Lunex. They're gonna try to go up now against Juan Country, but the opportunity has kind of just fizzled out here. And Depuzo spotted.
Oh, die vent wordt zo.
And that is more than enough reason for Juan Country to defend their position. Ju's still looking to give chase though against Dan Depuzo. Seems like they're really after more than just the surge. They want the eliminations too.
That they do. Will they full commit to it or not though? Only 9 builds. Not enough to confidently push someone. As they're going to opt to kind of play back a little bit more. And I'm just as curious as you are of what was going on in Wonky. So hopefully we can get a peek of that later. But Dan Depuzo.
Fortunately for us.
Here.
Yeah, we don't have to wait much longer. We got a chance to view it in 4K, and Huddy, just the shots from overhead. Huddy Fishy, who are you feeling like? Because Sharktini, that is not an easy duo to overcome. And I'm sorry to report to all of the EU
en hebben we nog PR gehad.
Successful hate watch here in Game 5, that's for sure.
Unsuccessful it is.
Ik heb ook Fortnite teruggekeken, dat is makkelijk.
The last match performance for Huddy Fishy. After they successfully got off spawn, they got 11th with 6 eliminations. But I guess it was enough of a confidence booster for them to win the off spawn now, so they get another chance at the end game. But that's pushing Sharkantini lower and lower. They were already in 9th going into this match. Now they placed 45th. They're gonna get pushed out of the top 10 most likely here.
Fuck.
Luckily, though, they'll still have 7 other games, technically speaking. 1 more left on the day. Game day number 1 here.
25 pro zijn we nu.
Steve.
We zijn 2800, wacht hè, 2867ste geworden. We hebben 7,1 PR. Dat is wel nice.
7,1 PR, dat is wel lekker, ja.
Oh, 2800ste geworden. En wat alsnog een kutcup. Besef als we... Wauw, we konden echt heel hoog eindigen eigenlijk. Holy shit.
Ja, als we gewoon de vorige keer weer dat willen spelen, moeten we gewoon gelijk doen wat we bij de laatste 2 potjes deden. Gewoon bij elkaar blijven is gewoon makkelijker.
We hebben 19 kills in totaal.
Ja.
Even kijken hoeveel PR ik in totaal heb.
47. Je kan niet kijken bij mij.
47 plus 60 is 107.
I don't know, yeah. If I'm honest, HD, the way it's looking right now.
Ja, ik heb 107 PR.
Ja, ik kan bij mij niet kijken, want bij mij doet hij het steeds niet. Die kuttrekker.
Very doable. But that first place is getting further and further away. Deemer Storm, though, looking for a sneaky play. All it takes is a quick 3-2-1 or double pump shot. Will Fishy and Huddy take the wrong path out of Wonky?
Will Deemish Darm actually be able to net something from this too? They're also another one of our teams that's kind of hurting. A team that I don't think many people would have anticipated to be this far down on the leaderboard. Ghosty might actually have a chunk out of Dorcas's HP giving chase, and that's going to be the final elimination.
107 PR, dat vind ik echt wel nice hoor.
Big time sink.
Ik heb geen idee hoeveel ik heb. Ik probeer altijd die trekker open te doen, maar bij mij doet hij geen kut op de telefoon.
Je hebt 21 plus.
Only time will tell. Fico Malabuca, 158 points. They have pushed themselves up the leaderboard. We talked about it in the last match. They were in 10. A lot of those top teams going down allowed them to go to top 5 now. It's surprisingly close between 10th to 5th. There's only a 6-point difference. 6 points from 10th to 5th. But it is starting to get a bit top heavy with Sky and Scroll at 281.
And for teams like Size and Scary, you never know. It's still I think very difficult to imagine they're gonna be able to overtake it, but I'll hold that thought because Deemish Dawn.
Je hebt volgens mij 28, ik ben niet zeker.
Ja, het is een begin. Maar ja, dat komt dat ik er ook toen mee gestopt ben. Hè. Want eerst had ik hetzelfde als jou. En toen was jij in één keer met Twishy aan het gamen gegaan. Dus ja, daarom...
Ik heb ook meer dat ze als jou gespeeld hebt.
Ja?
Ook meer cups als jou gespeeld.
Ja, omdat jij met
Twishy heeft 31 plus. Hey homo! Het werkt zo kut. Oké, 31 plus 23 is 44. Zo komt hij bij 100.
Yeah, you can see how quick they were to just secure
En heb jij zelfs nog meer als Twishy dan?
Having height originally, they instantly dropped down, took control.
Dat kunnen we ook vaak op ja, als we in die solo places kunnen komen.
And Deemish to disengage just wasn't worth it at that point. Really, Gonzo quite strong. Surprisingly, I mean, originally it didn't look like they were gonna have the best of early games, but then with all the chaos unfolding in the center of the map, they have been able to push themselves up the leaderboard.
But the big thing to remember is that this is such a new pairing. Truly had originally been with Zynox, and they've been having a lot of success with qualifying towards the Cup finals, qualifying the eval finals, and yet it just didn't work out. When the time came for heats, they fell short, team split up, decided, let's see who else to pair with in the last chance lobby, and truly, Gonzo, they've been an exciting duo to follow because They look great in the Last Chance Qualifier Opens, and when they actually got into the Last Chance Lobby Finals, obviously they did their thing, but...
Ja, ik ga nou ook gewoon proberen om gewoon solo cups zelf ook te gaan spelen. Gewoon grinden. Zelfs mijn kijkers zeggen gewoon keep up the grind. Proberen. Opgeven is geen optie.
Truly Gonzo is definitely one of those teams that embodies it.
Yeah, just 4 points away from top 5 too. Like you said, from last chance qualifier, last minute formation to almost being top 5 in the major finals. As we're getting closer and closer to the finish line of day 1. Just take a look at Biko and Malabuka as Darm and Demish are just in non-stop action.
Really kind of just been very hard pressed to actually find a starting point in a lot of these lobbies, opting.
Maar hoe zo vlug door die jezus man, door die muur heen vliegen. Zeg gewoon u tegen man.
We don't want you guys making any use of them. But both of these duos do have a decent amount of surge above damage thresholds. Whoever leaves first, though, I don't think they want to forfeit any kind of freebie tags to the other. And it's just this awkward little stalemate that's kind of taking place here. They are really throwing a lot of these teams for a loop here along the way. And I think they're also kind of...
Maar welke placement krijgen ze nou eigenlijk van deze toernooi paspunten?
Because you never know who you're going to run into next. But the way that they just been rolling through the line.
In één game.
Yeah, I would expect a bit more for Darm and Demish, so I'm really hoping they can figure it out. I mean, it's tough being contested.
Bij ons was het 17. Kan wel.
They have time to kind of reflect on it.
To be fair though, when you think about Darm Demish in 2-day formats, day 1, you know, obviously always leaves a little bit more to be desired. Day 2 though.
Dat zou wat zijn als je squad speelt, bro.
That might be a whole different story, but
dat is toch
nog 17, denk ik.
Dat is wel wat.
Rayzon.
Ja, Rayzon. Noah.
Underneath them, and it's because of the fact that they've got the surge ticks working against them. They need this elimination onto gold. They want to bring things back into their favor, and now getting to close out that fight. Put them in an okay spot, but still a long ways to go.
Sky Scroll, average placement of 4.75 after our 4 matches, matching their average placement in the Div Cups.
Dus de top 10 die gaat naar de globals.
It would be devastating for them to go down here, but
top 20.
They know when to not take risks.
Ah, okay.
It's less about them and more about whether or not Valley and Sliz actually need the damage, and they don't. So this is not a fight that they have to force, but...
Godverdomme!
Het gaat niet goed.
Nee.
Would be nice to get some heals along the way. Shmali and Sliz, though, that was the wrong time to hit go. Sky and Scroll, just
absolute. Top 20 gaan door en de rest moeten dan nog kwallen of zo.
Nee, het is gewoon... Je kan alleen maar kwallen via grens.
Dus deze en dan heb je nog een grens dan.
Nee, gewoon alle regio's spelen, Amerika, Azië, alles.
Somebody needs to stop them. Jan is cheated.
En de rest die dan allemaal winnen van de top 20 die gaan naar globals.
Oké dan. Last match, but they're performing so well. 4th place on the leaderboard. Hoping.
Ja, als de Nederlanders nog iets willen, dan zullen ze toch beter moeten gaan spelen.
So far looking good.
They've definitely been making the most of their day 1 appearances.
Ah, yeah.
Cammy and Hottie though, not an impossible spot to work your way out of, but things are getting a little bit dicey here. Sitting at only 100.
Wat is dat voor kutnaam? 2, 3, bla bla bla.
Those net surge metrics can actually jump both in your favor and against. And so for a team like Demish and Darm, unfortunately on the other end of things, but able to connect with some shots. Still, this constant up, down. And once those surge ticks actually start raining through, they're unlucky, another duo might even hear when their shields get cracked if they're close enough. Doesn't seem like Skyjump and Mumsy actually have that idea just yet, though. Truly Gonzo, separate fight. They're also kind of struggling here with their surge. They didn't get that immediate fight they were hoping for against Wizzy and Pixie. Yeah, if Truly can keep putting together shots like that, they won't have too many issues with getting the surge back on track.
Bet they won't. 107 above for Darm and Beamish as well. Gonzo his way into zone. Darm with a quick knock though. This is huge for the damage that they were looking for. Now even a little refresh. Good news is they don't want to overextend. They've already got a good amount of builds now. Match refresh, 635 above. Both of these teams were looking quite desperate a second ago, and now, despite Gonzo losing his duo partner, the damage is there.
Feast or famine outcomes right now between both of these POVs. Is Gonzo, he lost Truly. Even though they found one big shot, it just wasn't enough for them to stay healthy as a duo together. So isolated, 342 above.
Er zijn er 5 gespeeld, hè, bro. Dus hier nou nog maar 1, hè. Zo lang duurt dat niet.
Volko Cringe, a healthy duo just on the other side of this wall. He's not going to be able to break through just yet, though. Gonna keep having to take his time. The pickaxe alerting the rest of the lobby exactly where he's at. He'll be cleared out. Early departure. Fortunately, they've done enough in the matches leading up to it, so their spot on the leaderboard should still be decent. Just obviously you want every single lobby to be a strong finish with the last 2 on the day. Hottie, Cammy. Scenes looking grim for some other players.
Geduld is een schone zaak. S'il vous plaît.
2 pizzas at Flixie's feet. More than enough time to decide where he wants to go next.
I'm liking the look of this. We'll see once we get closer and closer to these moving zones. Thomas Sage, the consistency has not been there. They've had big matches. The average placement is 16.5. The good news is the damage is coming through. It looks like they're going to be making it out of this one, but for Cheeky and Giannis, they are now in danger.
Teams inside of our top 5, they're competing not just with the rest of the lobby, but they're also competing to try and stay within striking range.
Naar deze grand finales, boys.
Until their names are actually taken out of this lobby,
de stream beëindigen. Dan ga ik even kijken wat ik dan ga doen. Tot de cup klaar is van onze Marro en Twizzy. En dan ga ik misschien daarna nog wel even...
Je kan kijken.
Moet niet, hè? Kijken? Ja, jij bent toch live.
Ik ben de hele dag al voor me.
Ja, maar
bijna 6 uur.
Ik ga nou geen 12 uur stream doen vandaag, dikke neus. Ik hoef nog maar 11 abonnees, jongen. Dan moet ik de shit alweer gaan doen, bro.
Ik heb een Flixie weer iemand. Oh, dat is leuk. Kijk, vanaf nu krijg je als placement. Ja, net 4 teams aan dit. Zo plannen ze.
Ja, dat wel.
Dus als ze nu dood zou gaan, je zou denken van ze zijn weggekomen, maar ze hebben al amper punten.
Nou, ik zie al dat er iemand geumsubt heeft. Jongen, mensen hebben nooit geduld met gamen. Gelijk umsubben. Oh, niks.
Niemand is op high. Dat had wel een team hopelijk vooruit.
Ja. Misschien gaat Chap dat wel weer omhoog. Dat is wel chill.
Ik sta al uit met zijn.
Ja.
Rezon heeft iemand dood. Ah, Jannis, Duitser killt een andere Duitser. Flixie heeft iemand dood, wat gebeurt hier? Rezon leeft nog. Was elkaar killing.
244 punten. Ai, nou man.
Tip is volgens mij dood. Rezon is ook dood. Heel klein. Toch wel redelijk vet.
Problem for Pablo Gino is Sky and Scroller looking incredibly healthy.
Maar zijn die teammates ook dood van hun dan?
Chino is left as a solo, but he does have 5 eliminations. He is on fire.
Ja, er zitten nou wel 2 mensen op high ground.
Ja.
This is looking like it's gonna be a big match for them, but a huge shot connected from Chino.
The main thing right now for Chino is just how many elimination points can you get? 2 already for Scroll. We have seen him been on a rampage all throughout the games here today. And it looks like 10 eliminations was just the starting point for these two. They're just racking them up as we go. Darm eliminated. 3 now for Scroll. He just can't miss. Every single shot he sends out connects with a target. Thomas trying to see if he can make the play for the refi, but ultimate low just still so heavily in control by Sky and Scroll. They are the cutoff point. They are restricting anybody else from moving through.
Ik heb wel van de FNCS heb ik 1 keer iets gewonnen. Zo'n spray of zo.
Ja, zo zoveel dingen. Ik heb 3 packdings van de FNCS.
Nee. Ja, dit is mijn eerste keer dat ik daaraan iets aan meedeed. Die van die 68 punten, weet je nog? Die laatste wedstrijd die wij samen deden. Dat is mijn eerste ding dat ik daar iets van gewonnen heb.
It's a race to the finish right now for Prax and Glubshy. It's going to be Sky and Scroll that they're forced to contend with, but we saw how healthy Sky and Scroll truly are in these low layers. They were just taking full advantage of any sort of weak players.
Het is gewoon 2 duo's zijn.
Deze guy heeft geen builds. Deze guy heeft 9 builds.
1 solo en 2 duo's.
Ja, Sky en Scroll winnen deze. Full HP. Zijn echt perfect voor. 2 solo's, ja. De guys gaan gewoon 2 games winnen. Oh, 2 tegen 1. Oh, 1 AP. Ja, ze winnen dit. Kom op, Juffer. Hola. Hola. En no, door de storm dood.
Toch niet?
Hij heeft geen cijfer gekregen, oh my god.
Toch niet, bro?
2 keer Sky en Scroll.
It got a little close. It got a little close there. Sayas with
the 2 keer was echt bijna gestild hebben, hè. Eentje die bijna dood ging.
Ja.
Not go to the low ground. Everyone's just
Dat
gonna be
laatste
like,
potje, jongen.
because as soon as we drop down, Sky and Scroll are just gonna take us out of this lobby, Mini.
So patient.
Dan kan Kapi eindelijk zeggen, hè, Maro, eindelijk. Werd een keer tijd, godverdomme. Oh, zou toch laks zijn als hij dat zou doen, hè.
You know, I know we're here to talk about Sky and Scroll. They won the game, man. You know, Science could do all that, so I'm sure we'll get to that. But look, Sky and Scroll, the reality is, and I've said it in one of the earlier games, I'm going to say it again, you're not going to be more consistent than these guys. So you're going to have to outshoot them. That's what it's going to come down to for any of the other teams in contention. If you're Chino, Pablo, if you're Focus, Thomas, whoever it is, you're going to have to try and figure out how to outrank these guys. Anybody wants to turn into, you know, Peter Bot from the end of last year and start landing on these guys, it's just, you know, I don't see what changes for them, right? It looks like at times, maybe, right? Like, it just looks so simple, it looks so easy. They get in the same situations, the same positions, and they deliver the same every single time. It is so hard to play against. It must be so demoralizing to play against when you're one of the top teams and you think you've had a good game, and then you look at the leaderboard, refresh it afterwards, and you're like, Sky and Scroll, yeah, they just, they're deep into the end game again. Like, what do we do? So unbelievably good.
I guess you set your sights on Dusseldorf. With Sky and Scroll, though, how far did they go in Dusseldorf? Do you think that we're potentially looking at Europe taking another land? 11.
Well, it might be Europe versus Europe, right? Because that's where Venno and Curve land. So we'll see how much they have to say about that.
I'm very excited for that North American lobby later tonight. But right now, we've got to take a break because we've got one more game here in Europe.
We moeten eens wachten. Ja, joh.
Met een gouden vis knal ik je kapot, wat?
Ja, je weet toch wat dat is?
Wat is dat voor kutding dan, broer?
Je weet toch wat dat is?
Ja, een gouden vis. No shit. Maar ik wist niet dat hij zoveel damage deed.
Zo, dat bestaat al zo lang. Je weet toch dat dat 200 doet?
Ja. Nee, dat wist ik dus helemaal niet. Dat wist ik niet, nee. Ik gebruik dat ding toch nooit, dus hoe moet ik dat weten dan? Ik wou gewoon testen wat het deed, maar ja. Ja joh, zegt hij dan. Ja joh. Gaat nog kapot lang duren. Het valt best mee. Dit is het laatste potje, bro. Wat klaag je? Hoeveel uur hebben we dit gestreamd? Dat valt denk ik heus wel mee, man. Wow, valt mee.
Maar het wordt gewoon iets meer dan 3 uur. Wauw, erg man.
Ja, wat boeit die 3 uur, bro?
Maar gewoon 3 uur. Oké, wat wil je gaan doen?
Ja.
Niet zo erg. Bij Globals was het echt erg hoor, dan moest dat wachten. Dus de potjes dan moest je langer wachten en na tussen de 3 games moest je echt 20 of 30 minuten wachten ofzo. En voordat de Globals begon moest je ook echt een uur wachten ofzo, hè, voordat de teams kwamen en zo. Dat
duurde nog langer als dit. Geloof mij maar.
Door die stream die ik toen deed was 6 uur. Voor de Globals.
We zitten nou nog niet eens op de 3 uur, bro. What the fuck? Ach ja. Tien seconden. Game 6, de laatste.
Welcome back to day 1 of the FNCS Europe Major 1 finals. We just have one game left for the show.
Welke idioot heeft zijn dochter Frankie genoemd? What the fuck, man?
40 to 50, can they make it up? Because there's some big names there who are sorely lacking in points
fucking
right now.
But
let's talk about the winning conditions for all of these teams here, because if you missed the pre-show, Kinch, our numbers guy, ran the stats through his system, and 11, there's a lot that some of these duos really need to do, and one duo we have to talk about is Shark and Teeny, because sometimes they're not making it to the end game, they're barely making it off spawn.
Yeah, we knew this was going to be a concern for them. I think the key
staat na 12 games 250 punten tot 300 punten
off-spawn engagements. Can they make it count? I don't think the biggest concern was for people was going to be making it out of the off-spawn engagements.
Dat was wel lekker.
Disgusting. I don't know what's going on there, but Twerk.
Dat waren wel 2 goede kills. Je kunt zeggen wat je wil.
Time off spawn mini than I think people maybe would have accounted for, and even when they've made it off spawn, the games just haven't looked like the Shark and Teeny we've seen all year long.
Yeah, they haven't. They started off really well, and I was kind of thinking, I said at the beginning of the show, I was like, I don't see these guys getting a top 5. 50% of your tweet audience believe that they would. and they got a fourth, and I was like, oh, hang on a sec, maybe they're actually the real deal here. They can actually do all right. And then things started to sort of play out as they often do in these finals and major finals.
Ik denk echt dat Fortnite binnenkort gewoon loezo is.
Drop spot, even if they win that off spawn or end up splitting it. So yeah,
a few difficulties
for these teams. Maybe now their sights are now set on
Het is
that
niet
top
populair
20
zoals
rather than that
jaren
top 5, because of course
geleden.
they still want to qualify to the
Ik
to the land as well. But it's been rocky for them.
Ja, en er komen dadelijk nieuwe games aan, dus ik denk dat echt die populariteit van Fortnite onderhand gedaan is hoor.
Ja, dus gaat het wel moeilijk maken.
Dat wordt echt een concurrent, dat kan ik je nou al vertellen.
Let's take a look at the leaderboard. 5 games into the finals. We have got domination from Sky and Sky.
Ja, het is wat het is, jongen. Chap staat wel weer in top 8. Flixie, lekker. Ja, dat is goed.
Kijk, 90 punten voorsprong nummer 1.
Daar hebben ze wel weer goed recht gezet. Van 6 weer van 12 naar 8. Dat is wel goed, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to watch
ja, en als we zo door blijven spelen, dan halen we de global sowieso.
Like, this is just not what I was expecting, especially from this position here. Like, look at what he's not working with anything, and he's just crawling around the endgame mini and just hitting banks. Like, you just love.
Maar ja, dan wil ik eigenlijk die top 20 wel eens even kijken wat.
Maar is nog een dag.
Wel.
You can really clutch up, and again, it's one of those sort of dark horse teams that maybe a lot of teams wouldn't, or a lot of people wouldn't have expected to do.
Mogen zijn blaasters als games.
Ook weer voor Siffy en zo. Oh, ik dacht dat het maar eenmalig was.
What a time. Like, I just want to say,
oké, ja, dat wist ik niet.
Like, this is like the best he's ever played in his entire life, and it's just.
Nog 1 minuut, de laatste potje, hoor.
I know we say pressing W for obvious reasons, but in Spain, would they say going V?
Nou, laat de top 20 even zien.
We do have a Spanish person.
Yeah, you're asking.
Like, I don't know why you'd be asking us when there is a Spanish fella casting the game.
We weten nou die top 10 wel. We gaan verder kijken, kom.
Very soon. I wonder where Thomas Focus are. They're in 4th. They've only gone down 1 spot. I feel
370 punten die bovenste. Ja, daar gaat nooit niemand inhalen, bro.
In these in-game situations, you know, it's not coming down to a 2v2 for them. For
daar gaat niemand inhalen, kan ik je nou al vertellen.
Yeah, they are, and we've had to see a couple of this Thomas HD solo clutches today, which is nice to see, of course, for an EU veteran watcher out there. Of course, it's nice to see him still performing. But yeah, I think it's been a bit of a hot day for them. They've had decent enough games. Of course, the off-spawn situation was never going to be their problem, but when it comes to the end games, they're either getting that first place, 5th place, or they're going down around 20th level. So they need to have more of those top 5s.
235 punten.
This is an interesting situation now, guys, because we have 7 games left of the finals. We've already mentioned that there are some big names who are on the last page of the leaderboard. The likes of iDrop and Maris, the likes of
ze kunnen morgen nog alles rechtzetten.
We don't have a 1.5x multiplayer coming up tomorrow. If you do not start picking up your performance, you are not going to find yourselves playing in Düsseldorf. There are other big names in trouble. Demas and Dan, we're looking at you. Reason and Noah, they're starting to pick up their ideas. They're starting to pick up their games.
Frankie, oh, just schmoedig, bitch. Naar de volgende ronde.
Thank you, Frankie.
Beginnen hun ook.
14 points.
Ja, kom heel.
Heb je dacht dat je aan 1 uurtje wat hebt gehad, komt de volgende. Jongen.
5 minuutloze kutjagen.
Jongen, 5 mondje. 5 mondje, what the fuck?
And I think that's where we kind of have to fixate a little bit more on Sky and Swirl specifically, because it's one thing to be leading the lobby at the end of a 2-day format, but it's also
dat ding in je mond, jongen, houd je
with the mentality of not trying to autopilot it. So let's see how they finish things out, because game 6 is ready to go.
Oh, maat.
That's the game voor vandaag.
Ja.
So I would be very surprised if we see any major changes, but maybe a sneak peek of what's coming tomorrow.
Heel eerlijk, als je daar zo moet blijven kijken, joh, hier krijg je inkakker, jongens, zo.
curious time here. I mean, actually, Huddy, they've been looking quite strong in the recent 2 matches. Shark, Genie,
weet je wat ik daar ga doen? Ik ga daar gewoon een potje darten en dan ga ik jouw stream opzetten.
Shark is in AP.
Dan kan ik gewoon jou kijken en gewoon even lekker oefenen.
Lekker.
En als jullie klaar zijn, dan kom ik er weer aan.
You are going to be dropping at this line, but job's not done. Fishy, Putty, trying to see.
Of dat nog live gaat, denk ik niet.
Get the better end of this exchange, and sure enough, Shark floating through the air.
Shark is nog 10, die gaat de 2 verliezen, bro. Ken.
Guys, dan too slecht.
Gaat hij niet halen.
The worst has just happened right now. Shark en Teeny.
Kom op,
ik weet niet, ik vind, ja, ze zijn op tand toe.
Nou heeft iemand knokt.
Ja,
Shark en Teeny gaat niet meer lukken.
Nee, dat is einde oefening, denk ik. Ja, of hij moet morgen alles wegzetten, maar...
Ja, maar hij heeft weer een kill.
Ah, ja.
Ze
hebben weer als span gewonnen.
Still left to fight things out for. Skyjump, Momsy, looking to try and defend their position. Skyjump gets a little bit of an assist here.
Maar dat die Nederlanders even die placement pakken, man. Ook belangrijk.
Because Pixazi and Saren are just looking to play cleanup crew right now.
Onze skin weer.
To work with. That'll be all Pixazi to try and finish
Zo!
here.
Ja, dat was wel een lekker kill.
Skyjump will be eliminated. Some additional elimination points being added for Pixazi and Saren.
Chino Pablo looking to have cleaned up an early game. Just one elim though. Here's to see how that ended, and I'm still just thinking back to Wonky Land. Quite devastating. And let's see what Chino actually did though. With an elimination on to Gold.
Not this time. Gold and Peshka will not have the opportunity there to try and challenge the machines. But scary inside is if they can have another endgame finish like that last lobby Takada, they are very much going to be setting themselves up nicely for a day 2 run, because I put them into the 3rd place position. Granted, anything and everything has happened before in these finals, and this last lobby is just very on point right now, I think, for a game 6, day 1 kind of occurrence here at Takada. Players are dropping like flies. People are getting very aggressive very early on. Some teams may be choosing to go for that Hail Mary effort of, well, we need to finish on a big game. That way we make sure that we have some points to work with heading into day 2. But it really is all about the top 20 for teams that are just outside of it heading into this final lobby of the day.
Yeah, the good news is they have a whole other day. I mean, I'm looking back to it. Putty, Fishy, despite winning off spawn, they've got 30th, 11th. Hasn't quite gone their way. Thomas Focus, though, they had the strong win. They had a strong 5th place in the last match, but outside of that, 25th, 21st, the 19th. It's either big games or kind of mid games, but I mean, they're in 4th, so I'm only saying it because, you know, this is a duo that had the expectations of not only getting 2nd, but potentially even winning. The way it's going right now at Sky and Scroll, though, 90 points above 2nd place, which is Chino and Pablo. A lot is going to have to change.
But kind of just picking back up on that earlier conversation I noted on Sky Scroll, you know, they're the ones in the driver's seat. But
yeah,
when you are chasing your first finals title of a major, I think for Sky and Scroll specifically, it becomes very difficult, I think, to not just... It's hard not to get nervous, I think, in day 2. And I think that the way that they are playing here today, though, makes me feel very confident in these two, because they're not playing like anything is pressuring them in the slightest. They are just doing whatever they want to. They are forcing the lobby to be reactive to them. It has just been the Sky and Scroll show for the bulk of today's lobbies, and they just seem to have it figured out. Right place, right time, every single time.
I mean, this whole chapter, it's been that way. It's not like this is like a recent thing. They've been so consistent. I would be very surprised if we see the nerfs get to them on day 2. I mean, it's what these other duos in the top end are hoping for, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about the odds of that happening. They're just looking way too strong. Levin was saying it. It just looks like scrims they're playing. They're making it look so easy. Focus Thomas. I want to see another big game from them.
Thomas did a great job in the last lobby, even clutching up from a solo position to give them the opportunity here in game 6 to try and close things out strong here, right? But there are just so many other unknown factors, I think, that are going to possibly kind of throw things for a loop here. Yepko Panzer, potentially one of them. Painted Palms, legendary POI for this final lobby, but it's more so the fact that they're sitting at 154 points, so it hasn't been, you know, the world's best day by any means, but it's still at least left them in a position where they can be inside that top 20 for the qualifying range of the Summit Land, and that's really what they're trying to hold on to. They want to stay inside, especially hovering around that top 10 area.
Ja, ze waren gewoon aan het campen, joh, echt.
Purple, he's been put into panic by Fortnite Moneymaker. They pick up the Elim. Yanis. Not quite sure.
Dus zo zie je maar, zelfs in die cups wordt er gewoon gecampt.
We'll take a look at what actually went down here, though. Oh.
Oh.
Oh no.
Hey, everybody's gotta try
Wel vies, man. Dit was wel echt vies.
And what better time to experiment than in the final lobby of game day number 1 with the 2-day format to work with. Twy, Cringe, they'd had so much early success in that very first game, and then after that, it's just been a little bit of a roller coaster ride with them, up, down, all around. But XZ and Chris Buka, they need this. They need to win this fight here. Twy in the 1v1. XZ trying to gauge whether or not it's worth it to just go for the finish. On the one hand, it would put them in a, you know, reboot play opportunity. On the other end of the road, and then you are left on the last couple of pages of the leaderboard. Twy doesn't want to risk their current position. He'll opt to disengage first.
Ook niemand dood van
Thomas. They've got company. Government team one more time, but they've also got a lot of time to work with. But they definitely want to avoid surge woes.
Playing the slow game. What's good for these duos that are on the lower end of the leaderboard, I mean, the cutoff, I say only at 114 points. I believe in the last match, Sky Scroll almost got 100 points in a single match. So if you do just get one very solid game, doesn't even have to be a win, it's almost enough to push you into that top 20 and be in qualifying range for Dusseldorf. So a lot of these teams still have a very good chance at qualifying, so they'll just have to mix it up for day 2 or end day 1 here with a strong game.
But look at that flashing of the leaderboard right now. You've got teams inside of the top 10, 7th and 9th that have already been eliminated. So that's opportunity now for teams that are just underneath those ranks to try and build their way up. Try and overtake, a little bit of leapfrog action. Close things out here. Game day number 1, Sure4 and Repairs. 106 points. Very realistic opportunities to be one of those teams that potentially squeeze their way up another placement or 2 on the leaderboard overall. But holding steady. Dinas and Frenek also in their surge base.
Hey, Chap staat op high ground now. Nice.
The one match, Chat Flixie got the perfect zone pull. They won it.
Nou ja, ik zou er wel uitkijken.
Will we get a repeat here?
Voorste dak, heel dat zo
so
naar
far it is a
beneden
bit more north, but for the best.
It's like groupings right now, though, on the leaderboard. Chat Flixie,
ja, ze hebben ook gewoon op de shockwave, dus het zou niet...
80 man.
And for Chat Flixie,
holy shit.
hold that thought, though. Cringe and Twy. Is Laurent kind of mix up Darman, Deemish. They've really been playing catastrophe for so many other duos in this lobby all throughout the course of today's games.
Nice shot connecting from Twy as well. Darn Demish though. We don't want a catastrophic finish to day one from them.
Ja, nou gaat alles of niks, jongen. Alles of niks. Deze
pot. We don't want to kick off 2026 in a low point.
Net kids.
Just taking what feels like every single one of the med kits right now.
Ja, maar Chip heeft toch nog wel even een winnetje gepakt.
The way that Darm and Demish are kind of settling in here, looks like they don't mind taking a stretched out rotate. They've already done the damage to Twy as is, and they can likely still choose to hold him at bay, even if he goes for the reboot. This late on, Darm and Demish could just look to choke point them when they make their next rotation. They're likely going to have to run into them one more time.
Ja, de helft van het team zit gewoon in de storm. Fucking veel. Kijk. Kijk helemaal onderaan, jongen. Hoe dat?
We had kind of the main storm last season, but has been less prominent.
Heel ver in de storm, die roze. Jezus.
We're seeing a lot of play here in the major finals. Twy now gonna go for the reboot.
There's just so much gold available on the map that it makes it a lot more feasible for teams to kind of make delayed rotations, sit inside the storm a little bit longer, but then you are exposing yourself to the risk of storm sickness, and while we haven't seen it directly for anybody here today, it could still be an issue. I see having a whole lot of trouble right now with Focus and Thomas.
Dat gaat hem niet worden, jongen.
That's going to be another pairing of eliminations here for Focus and Thomas to start things off.
Ik weet niet of deze guys het zullen halen. Denk het niet. Dat is toen meerdere teams. En zij krijgt ook bijna storm sickness, denk ik ook.
Ja.
Gaan ze weer fighten? Oh my god. Oh, Fox is dood, 1v2 nu. Nice cracked. Daar gaat hij wel, ja. Gaat hij wel verliezen, denk ik.
Tja. No shit, bro.
En nu moeten deze twee nog in de zone geraken. Veel succes.
Thomas and Focus. They were just not anticipating a team to be this far out in the storm, hanging around the gas station, and just punishing them so steeply.
Ja, hij kan niks doen in
review of animations that just went down, but darn Demish, they are really causing so many problems in this last lobby of the day. You know, never let them know your next move mentality through and through.
Panzer Yapko, 175 above. They do have a nice position here in zone, but without the elevation, I'm not sure how many opportunities they'll get. 4 more tags, but it doesn't seem like it's too big of a problem from the here.
Kiri, Moneymaker, who's going to come out on top, both throwing slugs at each other, and Kiri, Moneymaker won't be able to withstand the additional tick damage from the storm against him, but Cheat and Giannis, they might even be able to
Hij vraagt gewoon weer welke game nu, jongen. Straks ook al, bro.
This is that.
You
tell me this was a replay, and I would believe you, Takata, okay? Sky, Scroll, pressuring teams, trying to make their way into edge of zone, and they're just beaming them the whole way through.
Teaming up, hey, dat mag niet hebben, broer.
They don't miss. They're doing everything
Mag niet eens teamen.
Even when they're put into a bit of panic and they kind of get on the borderline of surge, they still make something happen. Giannis forced the pop.
Zes, dit duurt zo lang.
Above. But without his teammate cheating and all these players rotating through, all these duos, gonna have to make a big play here.
Valt wel mee, het duurt helemaal niet lang.
That will be his demise.
We saw the reason why he paused.
Het geduld, jongen, Kapi.
5-tick storm at your back. You don't have any other options to run into your own demise. Chat Flixie.
Hij is ook below. Ah nee, above.
Rough go here in game 6.
This is a duo too. Had very high expectations going into 2026. Coming from
Chap.
Jordi en Ziffy en mij was dicht op elkaar.
Ja, ik zie het.
Oh, toevallig.
Wie gaat er winnen? Dat is lekker.
Sky en Scroll zijn below, bro. Dat zie je ook niet vaak.
We can see more of them. But for Sky and Scroll, they've been living up to those expectations now, going into this major final. Chap doing what he can to clutch it as a solo, but when you're 300 below, you only have so many options.
Ja, Chap, je zou dadelijk toch...
Quite a ways away from Cirque being turned off too, so Chap...
Iemand moet er gaan hitten.
Wel pushen,
Looking back, trying to see if he can set up, make a play. Sky Scroll, though, they really have just been delivering on all fronts. Their placements throughout the day, paired alongside consistent eliminations. And they're looking to just add another lobby to their count, but 16 below now. It'd be nice if they could find
Chap,
to deal
nou
damage.
moet je.
The opportunity might present itself.
Hij moet nog pen 270 damage doen, dat is onmogelijk.
South zone congestion. And they've also got
Hier zou ik gewoon een shockwave pakken en pushen gewoon.
Shot right back up, 146 above now.
Ja, daar ga je.
No longer feeling the same kind of pressure, but Chap is just in a world.
Ik denk dat je daar al het antwoord op je vraag hebt.
Ziffy's in AP.
Hij gaat dit sowieso uitkijken. Dat had hij al gezegd.
Above the threshold, the confidence is there, and our number one duo has the pressure on now. 343 below as he's lost Scroll.
Oei, dit is dit probleem met 300 below.
Oh yeah.
Ja, dat wordt hem sowieso niet meer. Hij gaat geen 330 damage doen naar zijn solo. Dat mag je vergeten.
Maar Mauro is gewoon live, hè. Je kunt gewoon naar hemzelf ook chatten, hè. Ja, Jury is dood.
Jury?
Ja, is dood. Ziffy ook.
Rezon heeft Ziffy gekillt.
Ja. Ja, jij moet eens in je chat kijken, zegt hij.
En die twee dingen tegelijk, hè.
Ja, dat moet je bij mij weten. Dat moet je bij Twizy meenemen.
En hij heeft niet eens het team met gestuurd.
They're just waiting, kind of scoping out who's in front of them, who's starting forward. Malibuca, Vico.
Oh, het is bijna gedaan, bro. Was het je te zeer?
A little bit of pressure here in this final game. They want to have a big showing. They want to indicate that they are more than capable of being one of those top 5 teams. But Cammy, Hadi, right now, is coming a little bit to the pressures of the lobby. Almost all of their heals have been expended. A couple of overdrive grenades, but trying to control front side. That's what Pablo and Chino are after. Malibuca and Vico still managing to stay just about a layer or two above ultimate low. And it's all about trying to see if they can get a good chop in on some of these other teams. Darm, Deemish, really trying to close things out here. Strong, Isaias, and Sketty.
Ja.
Ultimate low, sure, but they got the front side to work with.
Heerlijk!
Careful though, running low on mats, just 8 builds to work with for Syaz here. Good news is they do have the
Zijn
flow rate.
teammate is gewoon fucked up.
Scaring is lost, but Darm, look at the amount of eliminations this duo has. They had a rough start here in day 1, but hopefully
Rezon heeft iemand
we can
dood.
close it out. 4 on Darm, 6
So
on
luckily,
Deemish.
maybe.
The issue is just 1 build left, and it's gonna have to ride the back of the zone.
Dit is game 6, gast.
The moment that he dropped was trying to follow his duo. Doesn't get a chance though to finish things out entirely, but did play spoiler. That's a big factor. Think about Fishy and Huddy currently the kings of height right now in this lobby. iDrop gonna get tagged up. He's on secondary height currently with Medius.
Ja, het is de laatste game vandaag, bro. De game is klaar.
Malibuca though, big conversion, elimination. That's what he really needed. A little bit more siphon materials.
Als je niet weet dat FNC's grens 2 dagen is, dan ben je echt dom. Het is altijd zo geweest.
Ongeveer.
They need to get the finishes too. Vico trying to see if he can force somebody to look across his vision. He's clearly hunting for yet another elimination. They are out of materials entirely. Panzer Yapko sending it on front side low. Pablo Chino just behind them, but Fishy and Huddy have really made the most of this final lobby so far. Can they keep it going?
Je volgt niet wat je later wil zeggen.
Needs to try and find another shot. Needs any kind of an extension, but he has
Ja, maar die boek is geneukt.
He'll be taken out. Pablo and Chino. What looked so promising though has just been ripped out from underneath them. Yapko and Panzer now staring down the other teams on the low ground. And it's
ja, die berg gaat in neuken. Ja, die berg gaat in neuken.
Gonna try and follow suit, but
Wees wel eens in
Panzer
die.
at least managed to make it up. Not a whole lot of HP to work with here though.
Yapko is knocked.
Panzer, he's gonna lose Yapko. Huddy
2v2.
just chopping him down.
Ja, die Panzer gaat verliezen, ja. Fishy en Hutty hebben gewonnen.
They take out Sharkantini and Takata. Everything that comes after the fact.
Oh no, you small bitch.
31st place going into this match. Huddy and Fishy have been able to end on a win, pushing themselves in
Dat vind jij, tweede mij niet.
That's it for Taco and I in the casting booth. We'll back tomorrow, but let's go to the desk to break down how day one concluded.
Nou boys, dit was het finals voor vandaag. Morgen zie ik jullie bij de volgende finals. En dan wordt het bepaald, denk ik. Morgen nog 6 games te gaan, bro. Dan zie ik jullie morgen weer bij de volgende. Joejoe!
Well, just right off the bat, after that win, yeah, I guess that puts them in a top 20 position. It's